All right, we're live now.
We're live now. Okay.
No more.
At least you told me.
No more nudity, Jay. No more nudity.
I'll put it away now. I'll put it away.
Yeah, no, you do that. You do that, bud.
Just first of all, let's start with a big shout out to Talisman Solutions. Thank you very much for the 12 months of subscribing at Tier 1. Thank you, dude. We genuinely appreciate that. Ten Strong as well says, "Oh shit, getting out of class early paid off." Nice, man. Glad to see you.
Very nice. Thank you so much, guys.
One Creative Mind can't stay in chat, but just wanted to say have a good stream. Which reminds me, One Creative Mind, I hope you're still there because I need to send you some pictures, and I will do that in the next day. So I'm really sorry that it's taken me a while, but I will do that. I promise. Mountain Blocks would be 222 bits as well, saying happy Thursday, my dudes.
Always a pleasure to have you, sir. We do love our Thursdays around here. Or, well, Friday for you, yeah.
Friday, yeah.
Well, you're in the future. Wherever I am is the current time. So you are practically a time traveler.
I think that's wrong because I'm pretty sure that Greenwich is the central time for the world, which is mean time. Let's go with that.
Look, Jay. I make the rules here, okay?
I told you I told you I was feeling that way out today. Talisman Solution, 1,111 bits cheered. Thank you very much, dude. We appreciate those.
Alright, lots of beautiful faces in chat already. Slippery Pete, Nebulant, Gondolindrum, Fropsy, Chad. How's it going, everyone? Hope you're all doing well today. Greenwich is the center of time. Jay doesn't need to be right.
Greenwich Village, man.
Jay's right.
Am I ever wrong?
Jay's right too often, alright? It's kind of a problem.
It's kind of a problem.
It's kind of a problem, yeah. That's okay. I'll forgive you. And Jewel donates 50 show love bits. Thank you so much, man. Appreciate that. Very kind of you.
Gondolindrum says, Jay's in the future. Tell us, Jay, do GMK sets take over the world in the future? Not in the 12 hours between your time and my time, no.
It's like the movie Terminator, but instead of Terminators, they're just machines from GMK.
Just keycap presses everywhere, yeah.
Yeah. They just press humans until they die. It's a terrible way to go, Jay. It really is.
It sounds like it, yeah. Jay Shuff with the 500 bits as well. Thank you, dude. We appreciate that.
Thank you so much. It says GMT bits.
GMT bits. Nice.
Oh, no.
Gondolindrum as well says he's going to ask in 12 hours. Do you know what, actually? One of the best things I've seen this week is I actually caught up on Gondolindrum's stream with Mr. Keebs, F. Curry, where they were doing some PCB design. So I just wanted to say that's really, really impressive with that stream. I was thoroughly hooked all the way through. I watched it on one of my commutes to work earlier on this week. So, yeah, really appreciate that content. Thank you very much for putting that out. It was really good to see.
Yeah, I was in the stream for a little bit, but a lot of it was kind of flying over my head because I'm not a PCB designer.
Not yet.
Not yet, yes, but I think that's part of the goal, right?
Sure.
I went A with a Twitch Prime sub for 4 months. Thank you so much. And Skewed with a Tier 2 sub for 7 months. Thank you so much.
Tier 2. Nice. Thank you.
Love to see those Tier 2s and Tier 3s. Very nice.
Yeah, especially when they're half off as well in September. You got to remember that.
That's true. Yep, September right now. Cheaper.
Yeah.
If you want to buy some subs for yourself, maybe get some of those benefits that we have for subscribers over in the Discord. Very, very nice, dude. Just the usual pre-show stuff right now, guys. We'll be officially live in just a few moments.
Yeah, in a couple of minutes. Yeah, we'll go live proper pre-show stuff as Brian said. So, was there another stream today? I didn't see it live. As I say, I was watching the VOD rather than watching it live. So, if there's another one, it gives me something else to watch next week.
Heck yes. Yeah, I didn't. Is it supposed to be a series or was it just a one-part show?
I don't know. I've got about 30 minutes left on the stream that was up the other week. I think it was like 2.5 hours or something like that. 2 hours 32 minutes or something. So I've got about 30 minutes left on that. So
gotcha.
I haven't got to the end to see whether they finished it up or not.
Yeah, Fiona says it's a series. Got it. Okay. Cool.
Excellent.
Yeah,
Nebulant got package from me today. I wonder what that is.
I wonder what that is, because out of you, me, and Nebulant, only one of us probably doesn't know what it is. And I bet it's me.
I sent him his JO1 because he joined my mini JO1 group buy. So those boards all got shipped out of the weekend, and some of them started to deliver just about now. So.
JO1.
Yeah.
I hear that's a pretty good board.
Yeah, it's alright. It'll do.
It'll do. It'll do.
It'll do.
GS
GS2's better. Soon.
Rud says we need a fancier pre-show. Any chance one of yous can fit into cheerleaders' uniform?
No.
I mean,
you don't want to see that. Genuinely, you don't want to see me in a cheerleader's uniform.
Yeah, no, people don't want to see me in one either. But I mean, if one were sent to me and I didn't have to pay for it, and I could fit in it, I would consider wearing it on an episode. Maybe do like an incentive for it, like for charity or something.
Yeah, that's cool. Charity's always a good thing. Dixie says, Jay, I built a nice board for you last night. You built me a board? Or you built a board in honor of me by doing it ISO? I'm not quite sure. You're phrasing it as though you've done a board for me that you're going to send to me.
Yeah, he says for you.
Yeah, so I'm expecting that in the post, right?
Yeah, that is certainly on its way to you. I'm almost certain of it.
Yeah.
You'd pay $5 to see me do a split. I used to be able to do the splits back when I was still a very avid martial artist. I was incredibly flexible. Nowadays, not so much. I could probably still do a split one of two ways, but I don't think I can do like a full side split anymore.
The only splitting I'm doing is probably my pants when I bend over, to be fair.
Oh yeah, I would destroy my pants as well. I need some sweatpants. You can't do it in like jeans or anything.
Yeah. No, Dixie's backing out now. He's saying he's not sending me that board. He did it for the honor thing. Right, okay. You streamed it for my commute. I think you streamed it because you were going to stream it, not because you knew I'd watch it on my commute. But I will check it out, dude. I will check it out.
Fropsy says, Quake, you just made a mistake. I don't know what mistake I made, but that doesn't surprise me.
You agreed to wear it on stream if someone sends it to you. I think that's the mistake.
I'll do it. I will do it.
You heard it here, guys. Yeah. He will do it.
It'll have to be like an incentive for charity, though. I'm not going to do it for free. It's got to be a charitable event at the very least.
Cool. Okay. Well, if we
can raise like enough money for maybe I'll do it like a QMK charity or something.
Sounds good. Sounds good.
But yeah, I'll do it. It just has to fit me. Fitting me is tough.
Well, that is the first, because you're not a small person.
Let's
be honest.
Yeah, a lot of people don't understand how large I actually am.
Well, they should just go back and watch the stream we did from Seattle together, where I'm actually sat next to you, because that's a really good indicator of just how big a person.
And I'm like two of you. It's pretty wild.
Yeah. Only in certain places. Today I am Def says, have you shared your thoughts on the Kepler FC65 before on previous streams or not? I don't think we've actually shared our thoughts on it, but we have both tried the prototype out.
Well, we didn't. To be fair, we did not try out the FC version. We checked out the aluminum version. No.
Yes, we did. Yes.
Yeah, but we covered the interest check last week. I think it was either last week or the week before.
Wasn't that the Kendo?
Hold on, I'm gonna find out right now because I actually have the website open.
Don't recall doing that. Just while Brian's doing that, Frothy KK, a big shout out to you for 5 months of subscriptions. Thank you very much. And Ron DG for 7 months at tier 1. Thank you very much, dude. Appreciate those.
Okay, maybe I'm dumb. Hold on. We've covered this.
I don't think we have.
I know we've talked about this. When did the interest check go up?
If we did, it's not been in the past couple of weeks.
It's not been in the past couple of weeks. Oh man, did I have a dream about covering this or something? I know we've. Okay, I'm as far back as June, and I'm not seeing it in our news list.
Yeah, I don't remember covering the IC for it.
Oh man, maybe do we have to add it to today's stream? The IC's fairly new, right?
I'm waiting for Brian to click on this, guys.
Oh, is there no IC? Oh. Wow. Way to waste my time, Jay. Fired.
That's fine. That's fine.
Jesus. You guys.
Oh, dear.
Clip that. Oh, man.
Langlandia is here as well, saying howdy, friends.
Frothy KK, thank you for the Twitch Prime sub, as well as Ron DG, the tier 1.
I did those while you were looking for the
oh,
one. I've already covered it.
Hey,
I'm
extra shout outs are always fine though, because we really do appreciate the subs and bits, guys.
Oh, for sure, absolutely for sure. Yeah. Talisman saying when you did the splits, your memory fell out, Brian.
I lost that a long time ago.
Holy shit, it's Chris, subscribed at tier 1, subscribed for 2 months now, thank you very much, dude. Starstone as well, subscribed at tier 2 for 18 months. Risking burning my VPN in China to keep this going. Going where now? Okay, thanks, bye. I forgot it was in China.
I totally forgot that too. Yeah. Well, thank you very much, Sarson. Appreciate that, man. Hopefully things are going well for you out there.
Yeah, and can't wait to have a chat when you get back, dude. Because I want to hear all about your trip.
Heck yeah.
Mike Clicks updates on Midnight Rainbow coming soon. I'm working through all of the feedback. We won't cover it on the show because it feels a bit dodgy to me to try and promote my stuff on what we use as a news show. So we won't cover my ICs for anything I do on here. But yeah, there'll be updates in the thread in the next week or two, mainly around kits, desk mats, and stickers and other bits and pieces as well. So everything's all on there, but I don't want to use these streams to self-shill. I think that's a bit unfair of me to do that. Wait, can you not Twitch Prime sub through the mobile app? I think you can. I think you can Twitch Prime sub through the mobile app.
I don't think I've ever used a Twitch mobile app, so I have no idea. I'm not really sure.
Oh, people are saying it doesn't work on the app. It's dumb. Interesting. Oh, okay.
That's a very strange feature, I feel like, to be missing on the mobile app for Twitch. But
it's a very important feature to be able to have on the app, would be my view of it. Someone needs to have a chat with their product owner and developers.
It would be nice to hear your thoughts about the FC one. Yeah, we can, once the interest track actually does go up officially, we will talk about it for sure, and then we will talk about it again once it hits the group buy phase as well.
Yep, and I'm trying to arrange a build stream for it as well, which we could.
Yep, that would be lovely. The group buy starts tomorrow? There's no IC? Mm-hmm. He's just putting up a group buy? Wow. Okay.
Yeah, he's just doing it now, the group buy, yeah.
Okay, cool. So if it starts tomorrow, then we will definitely cover it on next week's episode. So that'll be how that works. Alright, we're rambling a little bit here. We're going to roll the intro and officially start the show, guys.
Cool.
Alright guys, hello, welcome to this week's episode of Top Clack. I am your host Quakums, joined as always by my lovely co-host Jay, and I hope you guys are having a fantastic day, morning, night, whatever time of the day it is for you. I hope it's a fantastic one, and I hope you guys are in for some keyboard news. Strap yourselves in. We've got some things to talk about as usual, and yeah, we're going to have a good time. Right, Jay? Right?
Yeah, definitely. We're going to have a good time, and I'm hopefully not going to fall asleep because I'm absolutely exhausted this week. But that does mean I'm a little bit crotchety around the edges, so I've already been giving Brian some grief before the stream.
He's very combative today, guys. So
I am. Yeah.
It's gonna be an interesting episode. Yeah. Yeah.
I feel like I have to live up to that now.
Yeah. Well, you're also drinking alcohol and coffee right now, right?
Yeah, I've got a pint of rum and coke, and I've also got a large pint of coffee as well. So I'm drinking both of them to try and keep awake and.
Uppers and downers. The story of Jay. Fantastic. Alright guys, so we will start out with a little brief mail call as usual, then a quick announcement, and then we'll roll into the news doc as always, and then we will round the show out with a Q&A also, just like we always do. So if you have questions, please save them for the end of the show, and we will get to them accordingly. Jay,
absolutely.
Why don't you start us out with the news doc? Or not the news doc, I'm sorry.
I was going to say, we're not starting with the news doc.
Yeah.
No,
we're mixing things up, buddy. By the way,
surprised then. I was like,
by the way, just a reminder to both you, Jay, as well as the audience, next episode on the 19th, that falls on National Talk Like a Pirate Day, Jay.
No.
Just gonna point that out. That. So don't worry. I did not forget about it.
Well, okay.
You're not gonna get away from this one, Jay. Sorry.
Someone get on Amazon and buy me an eye patch or something. Please.
Yeah, I was requested to buy one as well, so I'll probably pick one up this week.
Right. Okay. Right. Okay. So mail call this week. So the first thing is I got quite a few things this week. So the first thing I got, and it's in a bowl because I'm in the middle of cleaning it, but a set of GMK white on black, but it came through very grubby, so cleaning that. Also cleaning some OG Doubleshots UK ISO, so those came as well. As well as that, I did get a nice big package off Brian, which was quite hefty and quite large and quite weighty, which was kind of interesting. I got a key set for a friend of mine who Brian was shipping to, so that's going to go to them, which is Hyperfuse Origins, I think this one is, yeah. So that's going to be shipped out to them. I also got a nice big package from Jason at the Key Company, so I got a nice The Key Company t-shirt, which I'll probably get through the washer and wear on my build stream on Sunday. I got a nice set of Katakana, which we'll have a look at some point as well on a build stream, possibly Sunday, maybe the week after. But I got a nice set of that as well, which is, to be honest, I'm really impressed with that. I'm not sure if you've seen the production ones, Brian, but I'm really, really impressed with those for the price and the sheer volume of keys and the actual the die subbing on is really nice for the price. I think I'd be really impressed with that. I also got another couple of key sets. So I got my DMG keycap set through, which is I've still not opened yet. I've still not had a chance to have a look at this, but that came through. I also got GMK Tokyo Nights, which is off of Met Market. Brian kindly proxied that for me. I also got a vintage Apple board, and the reason for this will be apparent in a minute. So an old AEK ISO layout with very, very clean caps. This is quite possibly the cleanest one of these boards I've ever had the opportunity to handle. So really impressed with the quality of those caps. With its cable as well. So I'm going to convert that cable to USB, which would be nice, and you'll see why just in a second. I also got off Brian my Noxery T60 back. So I'm going to just grab this out of the box.
I tried to steal it, but he was wise.
You've had it like 9 months or something, dude. You've had it since pretty much the beginning of this year. Yeah, I see how you quiet that. I can see you. I can see you. And then finally, I got through the Borsdorf, which is the AEK, what the AEK keycaps are for. So this is for UK ISO layout, but it's got that lovely curve to it for the AEK keycaps. And it's one of the Founders Editions as well, so I don't know if you guys can see that. Try and get it in front of the camera. But it's got the nice Founders Edition logo on there. But only I didn't get one, I got 2. So I'm going to have fun building those up. So Brown Alps build and the Salmon Alps build coming soon.
That's so kind of you to get one for me as well. Isn't that really nice of Jay? That's so nice of Jay. What a good guy.
And then the only other thing I got, which I can't show you because it's in another box and I can't reach from here, is I got my correct plate through for my SKB 65%. Because originally I got the wrong plate. If you guys remember, I got the 60% plate and it didn't fit. Now I've got the 65% one. So Plastic Schnitzel was kind enough to send that through to me just the other day. And that's everything I got this week.
Nice. Well, as usual, my mail call week's not nearly as impressive as yours, but I did get a couple things in. So first and foremost, I did get a PCB, and this is a Bluetooth PCB. This is the BIOI. It's the one they used in the G60 by Play Keyboards. Yes, of the PCB. So this is the Bluetooth PCB. I don't have a battery for it yet, so I still need to get a battery. But I've been waiting on a Bluetooth PCB for a while because I'm going to very unprofessionally and unceremoniously reach off screen to grab something real quick. Those of you that might remember, something that I've had for quite a while, but I haven't been able to use it because I haven't been able to find a suitable PCB for it, is the Couchsurfer. which is like this outrageous like chunk of wood that you basically put on your lap and use a Bluetooth PCB, and you can use this on the couch or your bed or whatever when your TV, your maybe your HTPC is across the room or whatever. So I've been wanting to build this for so long, but I haven't been able to find a good PCB because KBDfans has been out of stock of the Bluetooth PCBs that they used to carry for the longest time. And I wanted something with a little bit more functionality, and then this one popped up on the market. I knew I had to grab it. It's it's a very simple Bluetooth one. It supports VIA, which I like a lot, and it's USB-C as well. So, like those options, pretty happy about that. But some would argue, more importantly, the other thing that I got this past week, and some of you this might not make any sense, but others that know me. I got a Q key for my Space Cadet.
Yay!
So, as you can see, I now have a functioning Q key for GMK Space Cadet. I was previously using the numpad 8 just because it was the same profile. I had lost my Space Cadet Q key at somewhere either before, during, or after the Seattle meetup weekend, and it was kind of a bummer, and I was really dejected about that. But thankfully 159 was a real homie and sent me just that key. He just sent me the key.
Bless him.
Yeah.
So nice.
Yeah, which was incredibly heroic of him. So shout out to him. Very, very kind. It takes a very Herculean kind of person to split up a GMK set, especially with a key that is obviously very, very important. An alpha that pretty much everyone's going to use. So,
yeah,
very, very nice of him to do that, and I greatly appreciate it.
You do know what this means, though, right? It does mean that now that UB Undercover Brother actually doesn't have a full set because he's now got the set that Q came from to fix
exactly.
yours.
But once I find my Q key, which hopefully will still turn up eventually, I could just send that to him.
Yeah, I'm going to send him one of the keycaps from the Nordic kit. It doesn't have a Q on it, but it will fit the profile and it'll have legends on it. It won't look too bad out. Yeah. I'm going to send it.
Yeah. Eventually, at the end of the day, all of us should have the right keys. It's just a matter of when it's going to happen. Oh boy. All right. So yeah, that was my mail week, and it was very, very important because the Q. Like I wasn't even using the board before, but like now I'm using it just so I can like be happy about the Q key again. So yeah, shout outs to 159. Appreciate that, my brother.
What a legend.
For real. All right. So a couple quick announcements before we roll into the news doc. As you guys might be aware, it is September on Twitch right now. September. So if you subscribe on Twitch, it's half off. So pretty cheap.
Yeah.
Can't really complain about that. So if you have been thinking about subscribing to Top Clack or any other streamer, this month is a great month to do it. And of course, if you sub to us, you will have some special features in the Discord that is officially linked below. So, something to think about.
It is, and as always, we always appreciate anyone who wants to support us in that manner. So if you do feel free, if you do feel like throwing a sub our way, we will be very, very appreciative, and we will love you forever, unconditionally.
It doesn't take much to get our love, apparently.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. Couple of dollars, we're there. Yeah,
Yeah, easy. Wow, we're very, very easy.
Just look at me and smile at me, and I'm probably going to fall in love with you. That's just my personality. So.
Yeah. Not me though. No. Oh, is it getting warm in here? All right. Also, just because we haven't mentioned it in a while, the 24-hour stream is still in the works. We kind of got tied up with a bunch of other stuff going on. Obviously, we had our big refresh, our rebrand kind of going on, and then we had our 3-year anniversary pretty much right after that, which we were trying to set up and think about. So we got caught up in a few other things. There's also some more back-end stuff going on, but we are still planning a 24-hour stream. I feel like an absolute moron and a doofus for announcing it way many months ago. When we kind of first had the idea, we definitely should have waited a little bit longer. But, you live and you learn. But I apologize for that. But still coming, still in the works. Just got to finish the structure.
Absolutely. And big shout out to GOM with the Twitch Prime subscription. Now subscribed for 3 months and says Big Pog. So thank you very much for that, dude. We genuinely appreciate that. Thank you.
Big Pog. That's right. All right. Without further ado, let's talk about some news, Jay.
Absolutely. Okay, so the first link is in chat now, and for those of you that like the TMO50 layout, this might be something that you are interested in. This is the Nightmare PCB and Case, which is a 3D printed TMO50 replica, yeah, it's exactly what it sounds like. It's a 3D printed case that replicates the TMO50 layout. It does have an integrated plate, which is part of the 3D print itself. Offers the standard TMO correct stagger layout, and it doesn't offer the alternate stagger layout, but it does offer a couple of different bottom row options as well. So in terms of everything you get in the kit, you get PCB, diodes, Pro Micro, 3D printed case in a choice of your color of your choice. Get my words out, and all the necessary hardware to fit and bolt that together that you might need as well. You'll still need to add your own switches, but the good news about this is that it's only $60, which is a pretty good price even for something that's 3D printed, because that's not a small print by any means. As someone who dabbles in 3D printing myself, that is quite a few hours on a 3D printer to get both of these parts out. What do you think of this, Brian? What are your thoughts?
I think it's pretty good. Obviously, the TMO50 is a very, very popular board in its own right. There aren't a ton of units in the wild. It was a relatively small run for the public. So it was a very popular board, though. It was received very well. A lot of people love it, and a lot of people are willing to pay double or triple retail price for it on the aftermarket. And so that generally means that it's a pretty popular product. A lot of people like it for the layout. A lot of people like it for the looks. Regardless, it's hard to get a hold of one because there are so few in the wild, and if people are selling them, it's usually for a pretty hefty markup. The cool thing here is that obviously this is only $60, and it gets you the layout. The case design obviously a little bit different, being 3D printed. It's quite a bit bulkier, maybe not quite as elegant, but it's also a small fraction of the cost, and you still get your bottom row options there. I'm okay with them taking out the staggered row 3 on this keyboard because I don't really see a lot of people using that anyways. I think most people are kind of against abnormal staggers.
It was a weird stagger as well on those as well, which is quite weird. But I mean, in terms of the TMO50 itself, I mean, depending on where you look, it's sold on Mech Market from everywhere between the original group buy price to $800-900, and then I saw one up, I think it was yesterday, sometime in the last 24 hours, that was about $500, and they've kind of been all over depending on what people have wanted to pay for them. So the price has been going up and down. But full disclosure, I've bought one of these. I actually picked one of these up middle last week. It just shipped yesterday, I think, Thursday for me, so within the last 24 hours. So I'm really interested to see what this looks like. I'll be doing a build stream when it arrives as well, because I'm really interested to see what this looks like, feels like, sounds like. I've not had a 3D printed case before, so I'm interested to see what it can do.
Yeah, I'm definitely interested in your thoughts as well, because I have also never owned a 3D printed case. So this is kind of funny. The keyboard is named Nightmare after Gengar, who is a Pokemon. One of his signature moves, Nightmare, which is also the TM50. So if you're a Pokemon fan, this is obviously going to be pretty familiar to you. TM, I think it stands for Tactical Machine. It's what you use to teach a Pokemon a move if you're not familiar with the game and series itself. So kind of a cute naming scheme there, and of course there's a little Gengar picture on the PCB as well. So pretty interesting. I like that quite a bit. I think one of the things they did to keep the price down a lot here is obviously the PCB itself is not fully assembled. You will have to solder on the diodes and Pro Micro yourself, but it does come with those. So a little bit extra work, but you do get a little bit of cost savings there as well.
I think that's fine, though. I think that's pretty okay. I mean, for a kit this cheap that gives you such a such a nice working board in a layout that's quite sought after at the minute, I think it's a good price, and I'm glad to see that those kind of high-end features are trickling down as well. Just big shout out to Whitsellers for the tier 1 sub for 3 months, saying glad I could catch a stream again, let the good times roll. Thank you, man. And also to Baby Feast with 22 months of Twitch Prime subscriptions. So thank you very much for that.
Heck yeah. I do like the fact that you can get this in so many different colors as well, and he has several of them picked up towards the bottom. So that's cool.
There is another page on the site where you can look at all the colors, but there's so many different options he's got in terms of the PS element that he can do. So I picked a white one. I think it went white.
You think?
But actually, I think what I did is actually when I messaged him when I filled it out, I think I said you pick a color for me because I just couldn't decide. So I think I said that, and I think it said white on the shipping receipt. So either way, I'm really interested to see what this looks like when it comes through. And as I say, we'll have it on stream and we'll show off a little bit.
Yeah. Also, open source files, pretty
yes.
awesome there. Love seeing that. So that way, if you maybe you just want to get it yourself, as opposed to having someone else do it for you, there you go. Very nice. So yeah, consider hopping in on one of these because they cheap.
The cheap boy.
That's right. All right. Next up, we have the group buy, which is currently closed for the HBCP. This one was open only for a few days, guys. So I think it only took maybe 2 or 3 days to sell out all 100 total units. So yeah. Unfortunately, you can't get this anymore at the moment. So. But we still do like to cover things that happen, and this was obviously a pretty big one. A lot of people were very hyped for this board, but
yeah.
So, anyways,
I think let's go through some of the details. We won't spend too long on this one because, as I say, it is now sold out. But congratulations to Heine for selling these because it's a great layout board. But in terms of the board itself, there were a couple of different options you could have. You could either have an aluminium in either silver, black, pink. Options and colours, or you could have a polycarbonate one, and there were a couple of different options between that as well. So you could have a polycarbonate with no weight on the bottom for $475, or you could have a poly with weighted bottom for $500. And you could, interestingly enough, have the polycarbonate in clear or atomic purple, which is interesting because we don't often see coloured polycarbonate on the market. We've only seen it in a couple of group buys previously, so that's really good to see. In terms of the rest of it, the PCB specs is offered MX or Alps footprint, 24 RGB LEDs for underglow, QMK, Type-C USB, and it was 1.2mm thickness for the PCB as well, which is thinner than the normal standard, which means it's got a little bit more flexibility to it as well.
Yeah.
In terms of extras, you could chuck in an extra PCB for $38, extra plates for between $25 and $35 as well. Pretty much anything that you could want was there, and support for traditional ANSI or ISO layouts was there, as well as multiple options for bottom rows and enter keys and different things like that as well within the numpad cluster as well. So lots of different options. Very popular board. I think, Brian, we saw this at the Seattle meetup, and I was pretty impressed with it. I think UIU had his prototype board there. It's got that lovely sweeping curve on the rear end, so it was very, very nice.
It was beautiful.
Very much fun, yeah.
Yeah. One thing I thought was kind of interesting is, like you mentioned, there are 24 RGB LEDs for underglow. That is a staggering amount.
It's a huge number, isn't it?
That is like, I would call that unnecessarily high amount of RGB LEDs, but maybe that's for the best, especially in that polycarbonate version. Maybe that's just going to absolutely just spew light everywhere because of that many.
Oh yeah, I honestly I do wish that I hadn't have had to buy so many prototypes this month for my own project, because I really wanted that purple polycarbonate one. I just couldn't justify it in the end, but it was just such a nice looking series of renders for that color. If you scroll right down to the bottom, there's a little more option button, and there's some images of that polycarbonate under there. It's just such a nice look. It just reminds me of the old Game Boys in that kind of purple polycarbonate that you used to see when you were younger.
I think that was kind of the goal. He was trying to color match.
It was, yeah.
Which is really, really cool. Love that. All right. So yeah, that one that started at $475, like Jay mentioned. That's the polycarbonate version without the weight, but for only a mere $25 more at that point, you're probably going to get the weight. Let's be honest. Yeah. I'd actually be very curious to see how many people bought the $475 option versus the $500 option.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see what the breakdown of that is. I wonder if Heine's got any numbers that he can share with us.
Yeah. I don't know. I might have to reach out to him because that'd be an interesting metric. So the indicator lights do use a daughter board, but it is also going to be QMK compatible. So very, very nice. Cool.
Yeah, really nice board, and well done, Heine, on being able to sell out that so quickly. It's very impressive.
Heck yes. All right, moving on. We have another group buy that is currently open for the CU80, which has already reached its MOQ. Do you want to talk about this one a little bit since you're supposedly getting one?
Yeah, so on Sunday I should be able to have the prototype of this to show you guys if anyone's interested. So the first 20-30 minutes of the stream on Sunday, I'll have the prototype from Caps Unlocked of the CU80. We'll have a look at the board. We'll talk about it in a bit more detail, and we'll see if it lives up to the hype and the specification that Caps Unlocked is hyping in the IC with this one. So effectively, it's a TKL. It's a low-profile TKL. It's aimed at kind of the lower end of the market, the more budget end of the market, but it looks like a pretty solid all-round board from that perspective. Aluminium top case, base, plate and footbar, so it's got like a nice footbar that runs the length of the board underneath. PCB that's either ANSI or ISO depending on your choice. It doesn't really matter which one you pick, it's all down to your preference, but it is hot swap as well at that point as well. Perky SMD RGB LEDs, QMK compatible, standard bottom row. There is only one bottom row option, which is the 6.25U bottom row option. So that doesn't fit with a lot of standard TKL users these days that like to do the Sangam bottom row. But it is the more probably the more adaptable one to early newcomers to the community, and probably the easier one to support from a keycap perspective. MX style switches only, PCB and plate mounted switches are both compatible. And that's pretty much it. As I say, it's a solid lump of aluminium, low profile. It's reached MOQ, and the price is pretty great too. It's pretty cheap. I think depending on where you are in the world determines the price, because if you're in the EU, you have to add VAT onto the price. But other than that, it's £124.99, which is about $140-ish, somewhere in that kind of range, I think. Which puts it. I'd have to double check, but it puts it squarely in the kind of same price bracket as things like the Massdrop Alt and other boards that they do as well.
On the official Caps Unlocked website, it looks like in USD it starts at $161.02.
Okay,
right. That's with no other options. That's no switches, no stabilizers, no caps, no assembly service, but. Obviously, it's a hot swap board. It's not terribly hard to put together. So this obviously is going to be in the same competition realm as something like the K-type, the Massdrop Control.
GMMK, that kind of thing.
Yeah, well, this is probably a little bit nicer than a GMMK, but a GMMK that's pretty darn entry level. But it also does come with more stuff. Obviously, here at the $161 US pricing. That's no switches, no caps, no stabilizers, so you still have to add all that stuff. So it does start to add in pretty quickly there, whereas stuff like the Control and the K-type and other things of that nature do already come with a lot of that stuff. So depending on where you are, where you're ordering from, this could be a good or maybe not so good deal. I think in the US it might not be that great of a deal. But it is kind of nice to actually have an ISO compatible version, because you don't get that with stuff like the K-type and the Control. So this is kind of fitting a niche market in my eyes, but something that we don't really have. So it's a good thing to have.
Yeah, and it's also nice to see more options at this kind of price point on the market anyway. Even if there's other boards that are a little bit more expensive, a little bit cheaper, whatever, and offer slightly different features. The more choice we've got as a community, the better anyway. Competition is driven by choice and compatibility across the market. So the more we've got of that to see, the better. And as I say, we'll have a bit of a closer look at one of these on stream on Sunday, where we'll have a play and we'll see what it looks like. I have no idea what configuration it's going to come with. He's told me it's going to have switches and keycaps with it, but I don't know what those will be. So I did listen to a sound test of it. The board sounded all right, but the stabilizers are completely stock, not lubed or anything like that. So I think we might have to fix that up for him as well. Just see how nicely we can tune it and see, how far can you take in 30 minutes. How far can you take? A budget-friendly board, this and how much can you improve it? That's what we'll try and do on stream, I think.
Yeah, definitely. All right. So we'll have to wait and see for Jay's opinion on that one. Next up, we have an interest check for the Olympus, an isolation mount 60 with a left cluster. Yeah, I love that name as well, actually. So this is an interest check by Kilgara, and this is a very interesting looking board. I'm going to be totally honest. I think it's pretty darn awesome. It takes a lot of inspiration, I feel, from a lot of other boards, starting with the kind of side swoop profiles here, which I'm trying to find a better picture of. but there kind of isn't one. You can kind of see it in this picture, though. So on this kind of angle here, you can see it does feature the kind of OTD koala sides that we've seen in a few other projects as well. Obviously, the QXP, another popular board that uses something like that, as well as the E6V2, KBD67. So very, very more commonly used profile design on this that a lot of people are into. It's fairly elegant. So, like that.
Yeah.
It is going to be isolation mount, which, as we can presume, just like any other isolation mount, it's going to have a plate that does not touch any other part of the case. So no metal on metal contact. There's going to be gasket between all of that, which is always nice as well. I've been, we've really liked the isolation mounts lately. I know with the JO1, the Kepler, it's been a nice the Bauer key cold boards lately. Lots of isolation mount on the market these days. So
for good reason as well. Because it is one of the nice amounts, in my opinion, at least. Anyway, so a few details on this board other than what Brian said. So it does have that curved koala style bottom, anodized or maybe cerakoted. There might be a Cerakote option for this for top and bottom pieces. The brass will all be sandblasted for the weight and the badge. There'll be no clear coating, so it'll be raw brass that's just been sandblasted. The plate will be brass or aluminium, so you'll have a choice of those. It will have a 7-degree typing angle, and the front is going to be approximately 17.5 millimeters high, so quite low, and certainly within the ranges we're used to as well. PCB will be compatible with QMK. I'll have a USB-C breakout board as well, which will align to the right-hand side of the board, so no central USB or anything on this one. It's going to be a right-hand USB slot. Colours, quantity, and price all still to be determined. In terms of the PCB and the compatibility, it's just going to be straight ANSI at the moment. However, if there is push and support for ISO in the interest check, then that will be added to the PCB, and the plate files will be open source. At which point you'll be able to have your own plates made. So if you do want to buy one of these and ISO has been added to the PCB, it will give us ISO users an option to purchase this board and have it in the layout that we prefer. So yeah, I think this looks okay. I think I'm pretty fun with the design. It reminds me very much of the JER Mini. I don't know if you remember that one, Brian, the JER Mini, with that right-hand macro column. And it's kind of almost like a mirror of the 910 and other boards that have got that kind of left-hand... sorry, on the other boards, I've got it on the right-hand side, but this has got it on the left-hand, that kind of logo in the top left corner is kind of interesting as well.
Yeah, so a lot of people are going to look at this and see it's kind of like a mirrored 65%, but obviously there's going to be a lot of functionality differences there as well. You're not going to have your dedicated arrow keys on this keyboard like you would if the column was on the right side, because that's the main reason you do that on a 65%, is to have those extra arrow and navigation keys. Here, it's more like a 60% with a macro cluster on the side versus like a mirrored 65%, so do keep that in mind, guys. The gaskets are going to be made out of Poron. We have been seeing that pretty commonly these days. The Keycolt boards use it, and a lot of upcoming projects use it as well. Like Jay mentioned, the colors, quantity, and price all still to be decided. One thing I did think that was pretty cool, though, is the PCB, the daughter board, and the plates all going to be open sourced. So if you want to get anything separately made there, you can. Pretty darn easy. One thing that might be kind of a bummer, depending on how popular this is going to be, is there is likely only going to be a maximum number of units, and that's going to be 20. So he's not looking to run a full, huge scale group buy here. He wants to do something pretty minimal. This is probably one of those scenarios where he wants the board, and to get a reasonable price, he's going to see if anybody else wants it, as opposed to doing it for, the community, which I totally understand. Yeah. A lot of group buys do start that way, and that is totally fine as a designer. So, yeah, he is open to a lot of different layouts, but he is not open to HHKB bottom row. He seems very firm on that, which I thought was kind of interesting. But again, plate files, open source, but then the case is going to kind of mess with you as well, depending on what you're trying to go for.
Just as an aside, it's very rare that people are more open to considering ISO than HHKB, I'll be honest.
It's kind of interesting. I guess he just didn't want to do 3 varieties of top. So obviously he's very into the win keyless thing, which is cool and fine. He will say he's considering the win key option, which would obviously feature kind of a standard case design. There wouldn't be any blockers for the win keys down here. But he is definitely not into HHKB blockers, which, it's fine. I think the board would probably look very similar to like a 60% TMO50 if you did an HHKB design.
Yeah, maybe. I think I prefer wing keyless anyway. I think if I'm going to have a 60, I prefer wing keyless to HHKB usually. If especially if I'm going to use it for a productivity board. I think whilst I have some really nice HHKB boards, such as the Profit and things that I really like to use, I think my actual preference tends to steer towards more wing keyless anyway. So I think I kind of agree with him on that perspective. So yeah, but I think this looks like a really nice board. I think the design looks nice, the weight looks nice. The logo on the weight is particularly nice in my opinion. I think it's really nice, simple, understated, not too outlandish, not too complex. It's just really nice, simple design. 3 triangles nestled together. It's the same design from the render of the base. It doesn't look the same. It's the same design as what you see on the top of the board in the top corner as well. So yeah, I think it's really nice.
Yeah, pretty nice looking board. I would agree. I'd love to see a price and a physical prototype. That's what I want to see.
Yes.
We don't really have any information on those, so we'll have to wait and see once this does actually hit a group by format, and hopefully it will, and maybe we can get our hands on one.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a really nice board, and props for the name as well. I think did he say it was it Hoffman or Hoffy that came up with the name, something like that? Great name for the board either way. I think it's a really good name, strong. Yeah.
Yep, very nice. So we'll check this out again once it reaches the group by phase.
Cool. Okay, moving away from keyboards now and onto key sets. This is where we start the traditional 9,000 GMK run through the show.
It's not quite as bad this week, actually. It's very reasonable.
It's not. It is very reasonable. And the first thing we're going to do is talk about one from our very own Tyson. So Tyson is the guy behind the Cerakoting services that we've seen historically in the community. He's also very active in the TalkPack Discord. He's done me a few boards in the past as well, including matching one to my car, which was really nice of him. And he's now back with GMK Ashes, a volcanic ash set with soft colours. So he's got a load about the inspiration and the design of this, and originally it started out as a dark key set idea. He was working with a lot of dark grey and dark red Pantones, and after rethinking what we're trying to achieve, he went for more of a monochrome look in terms of just the greys and the simple colours, and wanted to kind of do almost like an inverted Honeywell kind of colourway as well. So that's where the idea came from. He is using Pantone colours for this, which, as we know, can have problems. But what he does want to do is try and convert those to RALs as well. So he's looking into that, and he's got RAL colours versus Pantone colours as he's gone through his interest check and made changes over time. He's putting in chat, he's switched to RAL. I know, I'm telling the story. We'll get there. Don't worry. I won't do you a disservice, Tyson. So there's now the RAL colours are in there, which you can see the comparison which Brian's got on the stream between the RALs on the left and the Pantones on the right, which I think are pretty close, and I'd be pretty comfortable with those. And then there's some lovely renders of the set. So just in terms of compatibility, looking at these, I'm not sure if these are the final kits or not. They may or may not be being worked on, I'm not sure. But in that base kit, you've got ISO compatibility, you've got standard TKL 65%, pretty much anything you could possibly want. It's a well-rounded base kit. And there's images of that same base kit on both dark and light backgrounds. And this is a really nice touch, actually. So this is something that I really, really like to see. Normally when we see a key set, these days we see it on a themed background. So you look at the key set, it's laid out like the first one on the intercheck here is laid out on a dark background because it's ashy and it's kind of fits the theme. What Tyson's actually done is he's wanted to show what it looks like in terms of different background colours to help you assess how the colours are going to look in real life. So he's actually done a dark background, and he's also done it on a light background as well. So that just kind of gives you a feel for how the set's going to change depending on what your lighting environment's going to look like, what colour board you've got it on, and all of that as well. And it does give quite a stark difference that you can see between the two boards as well. See between the two renders as well. Even though the colours are the same, the lighting and everything else in the setup does make it look a little bit different. So I think that's a really good touch, and I'm really happy to see that as well.
Yeah, I think... Actually, obviously the background here is different too, but are these two pictures supposed to be different lighting as well? Not just the background? I think
so, yeah.
Because the key set really does look staggeringly different between the two, and it feels like it's more than just because of the background. So I wonder if that is kind of like a play on
I think
trying
it's
to do the lighting.
Yeah, I think it is the lighting. So I think it's trying to show you this is what it's going to look like during daytime under fairly bright lights, and this is what it's going to look like on a dark background under very low light conditions. So it's just going to you seeing the range of how it's going to look, because nothing looks the same in different light. Everything looks slightly different depending on the light you've got on it. And I think what this is trying to do is show the range between the two. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Very, very nice looking set, though. I do like this one a lot. I like the theme. I like the kind of how he's just kind of going like a bunch of different scales of gray, from like white to black and like everything in between almost. A couple stops along the way. I like that quite a bit. I've always been kind of a secret fan of having mods that are lighter than the alphas. I know generally we see mods be darker than the alphas on most sets, so I kind of like seeing the reverse here, as well as the accent kit as well. The accent keys, very, very bright. So I think this is actually like WS1 or WS2 for the white accents, and obviously the black one. This is a really deep black as well. So I love the idea here. It feels like it fits the theme really, really well. And this is a really solid key set in my opinion. And I do like that he's also offering the ghost kit, so you can kind of have a much lighter kind of afterburn Sharkly kind of effect.
Yeah, and I think that gives it an interesting dynamic, because it's almost like a muted version of something like Minimal that we've seen, which has got really stark white with dark black legends. This is kind of like a muted grey colour with kind of dark medium grey legends, and I do think that's really interesting to offer alongside it. So yeah. Very interested to see what this turns out like, and see when it grows up for group buy, because I think it looks really good.
Yep, definitely. So very, very happy to see this. This will probably be something I'm considering picking up, as I do like this kind of set. I feel like it'll match on a lot of boards too, since it's not really like colorful per se. When you have like whites and blacks and grays, that tends to match pretty well on a lot of boards, and I like that kind of compatibility.
Yeah, I even if you put it on a coloured board, like a pink board or anything like that, it's still going to look nice. I don't think you could put, it's the kind of colourway that goes with anything. It's one of those things. So yeah, need to just see how that looks and how that goes up. But I'm going to be definitely looking forward to this going into group buy, and all of the vendors are now arranged. So it's going to be Project Keyboard in the US, My Keyboard in the EU, Daily Clack for Asia and Oceania. So there we go.
Yep. Very, very nice. Looking forward to seeing this. All right. Good luck on that, Tyson.
Yeah, big fan.
All right. Moving on to another IC. It is another GMK IC. This one is Ursa by Nathan Alphaman. And this is a very interesting set that is inspired by Lake Tahoe, California. So his kind of overarching theme here is the let me try to find it. Sorry. So the name of the set Ursa comes from black bears who make the forest their home in the summer, and Ursa also is the Latin word for bear. So he's kind of taking a little bit of a theme there, and I like this picture a lot. That actually shows the color codes. So it's like a deep forest green with a lot of fog. Which doesn't really invoke summer in California to me, but maybe I'm not exactly an expert on it.
It's early morning. It's that mist lifting. It's all the
the
water and the dew lifting up early morning. That's how I see it. It's like,
okay, cool. Yep, very cool. So he is using 2 stock colors here from GMK as well as a RAL color. Very nice. And how do you feel about this one? I think it looks pretty good.
I really like this. So I've always been a sucker for green sets and things that have green in them, and I think the green in this is particularly nice. It feels like it's almost like a more earthy version of something like GMK Camping. That's where it feels to me. It's kind of a similar sort of idea behind it, similar sort of inspirations and all of that, and it does feel like a kind of almost sister set to that kind of feel as well. But I think this looks really, really clean. I think the choice of that. The alpha color is really nice. The brown legends matching up with the mods is really nice, and that green color, the shade is spot on for me. Is that as well? Looking at the kits as well, base kit, well, you can't add much more to that to make it any more rounded. It's got pretty much everything in there. I think the only thing that's missing from that is a couple of keys for ISO UK. But other than that, it has pretty much everything in there from Sangan to HHKB, 65% full size TKL. All the different enter keys that you could possibly want with accent keys and everything else. It's same for arrow keys and multiple different options for your 65% boards on that right-hand column. Loads of compatibility in that. I think that's a really strong base kit. Looking at the Cub set, which is a great name. I like that. Cub, Bears, Cub. Yeah, like that. For the 40 ortho and split, pretty much standard 40s kit here with split space bars and the extra B for Alice as well. And then the O Horizon, which has got all of your spacebar support if you want the accented spacebars. And then finally the Honey set, which is the novelties. And here I think no text novelties, Brian, I'm sorry. But what I would say is that bear and that bird, those two are pretty nice in my opinion. I like those a lot.
Yeah, this is probably one of the strongest novelties kits I've seen in quite some time. This is the first time in a while where I've liked every single novelty in a novelty kit, particularly the clouds and the bird or burb.
Yeah, the bird I really like. I really, really wish that there was an ISO green key with that bear on in this set. I really, really would like that. That would be the ultimate finishing set, or the ultimate key to finish off this set for me. But I am a really big fan of this set. I think it looks great.
Yeah, definitely enjoying this one. So, pretty good stuff. Vendors still to be announced. The only thing that's been announced so far is Switch Keys is going to be running it in the Oceania territory. So we'll have to wait and see for the rest of the vendors, but looking pretty promising. I've been seeing a lot of people talk about this set already, and it seems like a lot of people liking it.
Yeah, it seems to be getting a fair amount of interest. I think it looks good. I'm definitely interested in watching it. It's one of the few sets that I'd ask for just a couple more keys on because I'm really, really interested in it. I want the full UK ISO support and everything else, but I can completely understand if it doesn't get added in. But yeah, it's selfish me wants it.
Yeah, it's a little ways down in the IC, quite a few comments down, but I reply number 16 if you want to look at it. There's actually going to be, it looks like 2 novelties added. One of them's kind of like a honeybee, and one of them's kind of like a salmon, I guess is what it is, a fish novelty. So maybe a couple more novelties going on here. It looks like the fish is actually going to be a 2U novelty, so
interesting.
That's pretty interesting. Maybe your backspace or something, I guess.
Yeah, interesting, yeah.
Yeah,
or as long as it's not the 2U shift key.
Yeah, I was about to say maybe let's hear.
Don't do that one.
Let's hear one of those people that uses 2U shift, I guess maybe. But
all 3 people that use it. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Hey man, in a lot of the Chinese community in particular, they love 60% with arrow keys, and that often requires a 2U shift. So
that weird stagger on the on the last row. Yeah.
I don't like it, but a lot of people do like it. So. We'll have to wait and see. I imagine this is going to be a backspace novelty because way more people
I would imagine it has to be.
Way more people use 2U full backspace versus 2U shift on the 4th row. So, yeah, probably safe to assume that's going to be a backspace key. But, yeah, novelties all looking pretty darn good. Colors looking pretty darn good as well. So, looking forward to this.
Yeah, I really like it. Nice and clean, crisp. Love it. Big fan.
All right, moving over to something pretty interesting is the Melgeek MG profile. This is the Ember's ABS Doubleshot set. So why don't you tell us a little bit about this one, Jay, because I think you understand this set a little bit more than I do, and I keep having silly questions about it.
Okay, so the first thing you're going to do when you look at this is you're going to go, that's SA, and it absolutely isn't. So whilst it looks very similar to SA, and yes, the sculpt is similar to SA in terms of the curve down the board when you look at the side shots, these keycaps are actually a little bit different. So traditionally SA are spherical topped, and these are as well, but there is a slight difference to these. Where you rest the fingers on are very, very different to standard SA keys. These are actually designed to replicate more of the Topra High Pro kind of feel, and whilst they are spherical topped, the dish is very different, and it's more angular on the edges. The easiest keys to see this on are the enter keys and the backspace keys because they're slightly larger. I think there's a good image of the first image, Brian, where you can see the backspace. What you can kind of see is you can almost kind of see the slopes on the four sides on that backspace key if you zoom in. So feel free to take a look at that, guys, and you'll be able to see it. But it's very much trying to replicate that Topra kind of feel, and it's going to feel very similar, in my opinion, to MT3 in terms of how it will hug your fingertips when you're typing if you haven't tried Topra Hypro. So there's a couple of good images where you can see that. I hope that's clear to you guys when you're looking at home. It might not be clear on the stream through us because it's very, very small detail to be able to see, but that's what it's trying to replicate. But it's going to have the SA traditional sculpt in terms of the actual keycap heights across the profile.
Yeah, very interesting. I'm not a big fan of SA, but I do like Topra Hypro, but I also like Topra Hypro on Topra. I'm not sure how I'm going to feel about it on an MX format switch, because MX tends to be a little less stable in terms of overall typing feel compared to Topra. So definitely be kind of interesting, but yeah, in terms of like physical appearance, it does look a lot like SA. Sculpt obviously pretty much identical. So
I think it's going to look like SA in real life as well. It's just going to feel different. It's going to hug your fingertips in a different way. When you put your fingertip on the cap, it's going to feel different to what SA does. But in terms of the actual sculpt and profile of the keycaps, that's going to feel very, very similar to SA or MT3. What good news is about this is it's only $90 for the set as well. So for the base kit, it's $90, and you can get to try this out yourself at home. In terms of the keycap set itself, there's two options for this. You can either go for the Dawn kit or the Dusk kit. So the Dawn kit's got light alphas with golden legends, and the Dusk kit's got grey alphas with the golden legends as well. So those remain the same. Personally, I think I prefer the Dawn kit over the Dusk one. I don't know how you feel about that, Brian, but I think that one is a little bit nicer.
Yeah, I totally agree. There's also a lamp kit, which is only $10. And this one's going to come with maybe a couple row 1 novelties here of this little adorable bee that's looking in different directions and has like kind of googly eyes, as well as some accent arrows and space bars. So pretty cheap $10 add-on kit for that as well. So pricing, not too bad. After shipping and taxes, it's about $106 in the US for a base kit, which isn't too bad. I'm trying to find the compatibility picture here.
Right at the bottom, Brian, if you scroll right down.
I'll just use this, yeah. So compatibility, not amazing, but it does fill out a lot of basic stuff. A lot of the more popular layouts. Obviously, again, this is a set on drop, and a lot of people like us that use a lot more exotic layouts aren't exactly their primary audience. We make up a very small percentage of that. So that's another reasoning why they tend to cut down on compatibility, like you see here.
Yeah, I mean, you can cover most layouts. You can cover, everything that's standard, 60% TKL, full size, 65%. You can cover HHKB as well. You can do Sangan bottom row. There is no support for ISO or any other EU layouts. It's just ANSI from that perspective. So it is quite limited. I think if you're looking for correct legends and some 65s and some other layouts, you might start to struggle because there's not too many options in there. But for $90 for Doubleshot ABS and a new profile, it might be just worthwhile plumping down the cash and giving it a try.
Yeah, definitely. So that is available now, if that's your cup of tea. If that's not, let's move on to the next interest check. This is GMK Botanical by Hazy, or Hazy, not sure how it's pronounced. But this one, maybe a little similar to the GMK Ursa interest check that we checked out just before the MG profile.
Yeah. So This is kind of an interesting one for me. And when I was talking about the reason why I paid a lot of attention to Tyson's set when we were talking about that and it being on the different colour backgrounds, is that I feel that whilst this is another green set, green is one of my favourite colours, and I really like the pictures in the render. When I actually sat back and thought about this one a little bit more, I'm actually wondering and a little bit worried that this set's going to appear a little bit more grey if you put that on a white background. The renders are all done for the kits on a kind of green background that kind of complements, and the accent keys and everything else. It kind of fits for the set and fits for the theme. But if you take this set away from that and look at it on a clear white background or a dark black background, I feel that this set's going to look a little bit washed out and a little bit grey from the renders that we've seen so far. I don't know if you'd agree, Brian, but if you look at some of the images of the boards towards the bottom, it does feel as though it's a little bit greyish in some of these pictures rather than emulating that green.
Yes, it feels really dull. I guess I don't necessarily mean that in a bad way, but it feels very faded.
I think there's a real risk with this one that the colours, if they're not perfect, it's going to lose that green quality, which is what they're trying to go for, and it is going to feel a bit more of a monochrome type set where it's just going to feel like greys and drab colours on there.
It's worth
that being said,
it's worth noting this is all using Pantones too, so that's even scarier because they might not be matched appropriately.
Yeah,
because that's a risk you run when you choose to color match Pantones instead of just using something like RAL.
Yeah, I think that whilst I go for the whole muted thing, and Dixie's just pointing this out, I think it's I think it does run the risk of becoming a bit too grey in real life when they start to get production samples for this, and if the right samples aren't picked, then it could cause some concerns. That being said, in the renders of the actual keycap set laid out on the green background, I think it looks really, really nice in that context, and I'm a really big fan of green sets. I also think the compatibility looks great. It's very, very similar to the other set we looked at a few minutes ago, again, if it looks like it does in the renders, I will be all over this. And I do really, really like the succulents kit as well, which is the novelty kit for this. I don't know if you had a look at that, Brian, but it's quite possibly one of the cutest kits I've seen this year.
It's pretty great.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of succulents. I've got them all over my desk. I've got like a whole big pot of them here, and quite a few pots that you've probably seen on the stream before. So big fan of that for me. I think they all look great, especially the pots and the acorns and the bamboos and things like that, the lotus flowers. I'm not quite sure I understand the Japanese text enter keys. I'm not quite sure I get where they come from and how they fit into the botanical theme. I don't know if they mean jungle or botanical or succulent or something in Japanese. I can't tell, but
I'm trying to remember. I don't think he actually mentions it in the initial thread. Maybe someone in chat can correct us. I remember someone talking about it. It says, I don't remember exactly what it says. I think it's like katakana for plant or something like that.
Right. Okay.
I could be very wrong, but it's very interesting choice. I think it looks fine though. Obviously, maybe if you're super finicky about accuracy and stuff, or you might wonder why this is here or why it's done this way. But yeah, I don't know, something to think about. As far as the other novelties go, I think they're really, really successful. The bamboo, the leaves, etc. I think this is another kit, just like Ursa, that I think did really, really, really well in the novelties. So happy to see that. Of course, there's other kits as well. There's the Sapling Kit if you're more into the 40% ortho kind of stuff. That'll help you out there, as well as the Bamboo Kit, which is actually kind of cute, and that is the Spacebar Kit. So very, very nice stuff there. So pretty well laid out interest check. I think the set's going to be really successful as well.
Very well laid out.
And like you mentioned, I think if they do actually get the colors the way that they're aiming for, this could be a very, very popular and very successful set. It's just going to be kind of hit or miss, because if they mess up, like maybe even a little bit on those Pantone color matchings, this could burn down in flames.
Yeah, and that's the risk this set's running. It's so nice in those renders, and it looks okay on the boards, but the stark white backgrounds probably do it a little bit of a disservice. But I am really, really worried that it's going to look a little bit washed out, a little bit too faded, and a little bit too grey in production if the RAL equivalents or the plastic equivalents of these Pantones aren't quite living up to spec. But if it looks like it does in that jungle render, I am in love with this set. I love a good green set. Two sets that would be must buy from this for me this week would be Ursa and this one. So absolutely interested in that. I just really hope that it does look as good as it does in the renders.
Yep, definitely. So we'll wait to see on this one. Hopefully we can get some more information soon, and the group buy will actually begin. But as you know, GMK group buy is flying out the door left and right these days. So A lot of vendors are backed up on GMK sets for many months, which is which is really interesting. So I wonder, maybe a little off topic from this set here, but I wonder how we're going to start to handle GMK group buys with vendors that are looking with 5, 6, 8 month times out the door, and that's not even including like GMK manufacturing time. That's just like the vendor's ability to run a set. I know a lot of the most popular vendors right now, Naval Keys, Dixiemech, even Canon Keys, really backed up right now on GMK sets. So I wonder, if it's going to be a while before we start to see any of these sets, or if people are going to start finding other vendors.
Maybe we need to look at the way we do the group buy model. Maybe shorter timescales for group buys instead of 4 weeks, maybe 3 or 2. These all as we start to move to the everything hits MOQ world, and we don't need to worry about stuff, which seems to be the trend. I know we've had some slight deviations from that recently, but if that keeps going and the community keeps growing, maybe we need to look at shorter periods for group buys because that's getting more in.
It's interesting because it feels so natural right now to have 1 month group buys. That's actually a very new thing. That didn't used to be the case. Group buys used to be like 1-2 weeks maximum. And then I think it was Massdropper, maybe it was another vendor, that started running 1 month group buys, and everyone was like, that is ridiculous. Why would you ever want a group buy open that long? And then now look at it. Almost every group buy, particularly for key sets, is open for a month. So yeah, could be time to reconsider that as well, to maybe get more sets out. And hopefully GMK can keep up with the demand, as can the vendors that are running all these sets.
Yeah, and it's entirely going to be up to the vendors how they want to do that and how they want to approach it and things. But I think there are opportunities in there to explore. I've been having conversations with Mike and my keyboard around running sets and timelines for it and stuff. And it is tough out there at the minute because people don't want to overlap too many things, and it's difficult to find the right slot. And if depending on the vendor you pick and who you're talking to, you could be looking at 6 months away, or even the middle of next year, depending on what you want to do and how you want to do it, and how you want to approach that. So it is interesting.
Yeah, definitely. And I like 10 Strong is pointing out in chat, the everything hits MOQ argument. Not really an argument. Not everything hits MOQ. A lot of things are hitting MOQ, but a lot of them aren't also. So we're not at the point in the community where we can just run whatever sets we want and they'll make it. We're getting closer. We're getting closer to it, but we're not there yet.
We're almost there. We're on the edge of it, and I don't mean for child kits or anything like that. I mean for base kits, because I know there's a tendency to strip things out of the base kit now and put them into child kits to make it cheaper for some people, and the unintended consequence of that is it makes it expensive for other people, more expensive for other people. But in terms of base kits, I think we're almost at a place where base kits will hit MOQ. No matter how many sets we're running each month. I think last month was particularly hard. I think this month, and that's going to have a knock-on effect this month, which is why we've seen some of the things we've seen this month. But yeah, we just need to see how it goes and see how vendors respond to that, and whether vendors want to try shorter timescales and go back to the old methodologies and models. Having more lead-up time and more build time to market. And we had a really good conversation last week about how important marketing is in sets and things. So I think it's just a case of watch this space and see what vendors want to try. And there's nothing wrong with trying new things. And if they don't work, they don't work. Let's go back to the drawing board and try more new things. There's nothing wrong with failing fast and making mistakes and learning from them. It's all a learning either way.
That's true. UMPS in chat actually brings up a really interesting point. He says, to be honest, keyboard stuff is so spread out with no center marketplace. It's hard for people just getting into the scene to really find these GBs, in my opinion. Yeah, I mean, there are so many vendors in the keyboard community now, and obviously people like us that are in the hobby have been for a while, and we're very, very active. It's like part of just our normal daily routine now. We know about this, but not everyone does. We're not a community that just has like an Amazon or an eBay or something like that where people could just go and buy a bunch of stuff. You have to go back and forth between tons of vendors to get everything that you want.
And that's why we do what we do, guys, as well. It's to bring all of this news and to try and tie up all of the major interest checks and group buys each week and bring them forth to people to be able to see. And as we grow in line with the community, hopefully that'll bring more people on board as well. But maybe there is an opportunity for someone to kind of set up some sort of centralized marketplace that gives us some direction, creative solutions on how to point people new to the community or older, people who've been here a while, established members of the community, to what's happening as well. Because you take a week off and you miss a lot now. You go on vacation, you take a break for a week, you have a busy week at work and you don't get a chance to check GCAC, and all of a sudden you've missed 3 key sets and 4 boards and God knows how many artisans and all the other stuff as well that goes with the community as well. So I completely get it, I completely appreciate that.
Yeah, and like Jay mentioned, that's part of why we do this, so people can just sit down, have a watch, have a listen, and be like, oh, okay, now this all makes sense. I can just go here, and this is what I like, this is what I don't like, whatever. If you don't have time to watch the show, check out the website. I always put the weekly news on the website after the show, so even if you don't have time to watch the show, you can check through all the topics that we discussed and see what's happening that week. So, something to consider. Anyways, without too much more ranting, sorry about that, guys. Back to the news doc at hand. GMK Botanical interest check up now. Show us some feedback if this is something up your alley, and hopefully we'll see this hit the group buy format in the near future. I like this one.
Absolutely.
And good luck to them on the Pantone color matching, because I really want them to nail this.
If it's nailed, it'll be very, very popular with that set.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, right. Moving on then. Next interest check topic here is for GMK White on Black 40s Extension Kit. So this is an interest check for a 40s extension kit. It's basically a 40s kit that's going to run on its own. That adds a ton of different compatibility to GMK sets, to GMK White on Black specifically, including my new favourite key, a 1.25U Enter key, as well as a couple of B keys and all of that other good stuff as well. What do you think to this, Brian?
It's good. I mean, it's an extension kit that's going to help out a niche part of our already fairly niche community, and there's not really like any arguing against it. I don't think anyone's going to say this is a bad idea, because
nope.
I mean, people that use 40% keyboards deserve to be able to use the key sets that they want, and this is one step closer to that.
Yeah, absolutely. And the other thing as well is, like, say, 40% boards are getting, excuse the pun here, but they're getting bigger and bigger all the time, right? They're more and more popular, and people are starting to look at 40s as a more of an opportunity to learn new layouts and new skills and have more portable boards and all of that kind of stuff. I've started to dabble in 40s more often than what I used to do, and I've been really enjoying that change as well in my personal keyboard choices, depending on what I'm doing. So I think it's good that we're seeing this as well. So this supports 40s as well as split and ergonomic boards as well. So it's not just for 40s, but I think it's a really strong expansion kit. There's not much I can see that I'd want to add to this to make the compatibility any better, to be honest.
Yeah, definitely. So I imagine this is going to run, and it's probably going to be pretty successful, because there are a lot of 40s. There's a lot of 40s users in the community now, and this is a pretty fundamental set, obviously. GMK White on Black, so it's very fundamental. It's very accessible these days. It's very inexpensive these days. So this will kind of be a nice little thing to go along with that.
Yeah, I can't see any reason why I shouldn't buy this. I mean, everything is telling me that I should buy this, because it will fit a ton of the boards I've got. The Equinox I've built quite recently, and a few of the boards I've got lying around as well. I've got the new the Nightmare, the TMO clone coming in as well. So lots of different boards that can use keys from this set, and I think it's great.
Yep, very nice. All right, next up we have a group buy that is currently open for GMK Sandstorm. This is a set designed by popular designer Zomboomon, who has a lot of successful sets in the past, and this is his newest work. And this one's a pretty interesting looking one.
Yeah, so this has been teased for a little while. I think it was originally called Tactical something or other, or Tactical Blotsky, I think it got called at one point. It had a few different name changes, and it's now come out to GMK Sandstorm. This is a monochrome set in terms of the alphas and the modifiers are all the same color. They're the same base color and they've got the same legend color as well. There is a few accent keys in there too. In terms of the core kit, which is the base kit, it's very much one of these stripped down base kits, but it does still include the numpad, which is sometimes split out. Zamberman has kept it in this time, whereas the rest of the remaining keys in the kit have been reduced somewhat. So you do still have full-size TKL 65% ANSI support, with a few alternate keys, so you can have an alternate bottom row, and you also have a few accent keys in there as well, and step caps lock and a few other things as well. If you do need more compatibility, you do have to buy another kit, which is the extension kit, which not only gives you 40 support, LSB support, and ISO support, but it also has split space bars in there as well. So it will add support for 66% and a few other bits and pieces too. If you do need more spacebars, there is a spacebar kit too, so you can add additional spacebars that aren't in the base kit or in the split kit, and that will give you a few more choices, including some accented spacebars as well. But what I think you're really, really a fan of, Brian, in this one is the novelty Rama cap, right?
Yeah. When I first saw it, I was kind of like, that's nice. And then when I went through the thread today before the show today, when I was working on the news doc, I was like, oh man, I didn't realize before this is actually a hit marker keycap. And I used to play. I play a lot of first-person shooters when I play games, and that's just what I've played since I started playing video games. Pretty much, I grew up on GoldenEye and Perfect Dark for the Nintendo 64 and stuff like that, and I used to play Call of Duty competitively, and I still play Overwatch. And stuff like that. So like this really resonated with me. The hit marker keycap. I once I realized what it was, it tugged at my heartstrings a little bit. So this is very nice. I do like the set, and I do love the novelty. I always mix up novelty and novelty, just because like they just kind of both roll off the tongue. But I do like the Rama cap here. I think that's very, very cute, and it does add a very fitting theme to what was formerly called GMK Tactical. So,
yeah. So in terms of price, looking at this, the base kit is $127 on SwitchMod.net. It's also in a number of other different vendors: Daily Clack, Ireland KB, My Keyboard, Yushikobo, Z Frontier. Depending on where you are around the world, there's all sorts of different vendors where you're able to pick this up. The prices do vary somewhat depending on where you are, but the standard pricing that we usually use on the show is the US dollar. So it's $127 for the base kit. Given the size of the base kit, that does feel like it's a little bit on the high side if we consider some of the other keycap sets that have run recently that have been slightly cheaper. And I know Rocket had some slight challenges in meeting MOQ, but that had a much bigger base kit for $125, as did things like GMK Calm Depths, for example, significantly larger base kits for just a couple of dollars cheaper. It does seem like that's potentially a little bit on the high side for me, given the compatibility, but I don't think it's unreasonable or unfair given some of the other prices we have seen recently as well. So.
Yeah, it still seems in line with everything else that we're seeing right now.
It's towards the top end, but it's in line given the number of keys in that particular set.
Yeah, definitely. But pretty decent looking set. Love the Rama novelty. Great renders, of course. And one thing I do appreciate about this interest check quite a bit is he actually has, within the Geekhack interest check, or the group buy thread, he has the price breakdown for every single vendor and every single kit, which is cool, because they have quite a few proxies on this one. So just to have a lot of
proxies,
just to have this little graph right here in the thread, I really appreciate, because you can kind of get a feel for how much everything's going to be based on which vendor you're going with, without actually having to go there first. So
yeah,
definitely like.
What do you think the thought process is behind having by having so many different vendors picking this up? Because normally we see 3, sometimes 4 vendors. This one's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 vendors picking this one up. If you count Zeal Frontier twice for the Chinese and the English sites.
That's true. I'm not sure, honestly. Why is I'm not an expert and in a lot of the international sales that goes along with this community, but I'd be curious to know why you'd have a Southeast Asia proxy, as well as effectively 3 other Asian proxies. So maybe this makes sense and I'm just stupid, but it'd be something that I would like to know. But obviously, they're the ones running the sets. This isn't new to any of these people. This is what they do. So whatever they are doing probably makes sense. I imagine. I would expect no less from the people involved in this project.
Sure. Yeah, we'll have to see how it goes. What do you think to the set in itself, Brian? Is it something you're interested in?
I probably won't pick it up. I think it looks fine. I think it's nice. I do like the Rama cap obviously quite a bit, but I don't like it enough to buy it. I have to be really selective of the sets I buy these days because obviously there are a ridiculous amount of sets running.
Many.
And a lot of sets that I think are fine, that are just okay, or that I even like a little bit, like this one, I just can't even justify getting because there's always going to be something I'd probably like more. So I like just the past couple months I've skipped out on so many sets that I actually like, just to try to only get the sets that I love.
Yeah,
which is kind of how this community goes when you have 9, 10, 14 GMK sets run in a single month.
Sure.
Yep. So that is available now. Lots of vendors, of course. SwitchMod is going to be your North American vendor if you're one of the US peeps watching now. All right, let's move over to our last topic on the news doc today, which is the Winmix Lava Orange PBT Doubleshot Keycap set. That title is quite a mouthful, to say the least. So I think Winmix is actually the name of the manufacturer. That's not actually the name of the profile. Yep. So the profile here is actually, let me make sure I get this right. It's OSA, right? Okay, yeah, OSA. Yep, so this is OSA profile, which I believe is effectively just a slightly shorter SA, and it's PBT instead of ABS.
And the row sculpt is different, but yes.
Yeah, the row sculpt is a little funky. Yeah, but interestingly enough, obviously SA has been done in PBT before by Signature Plastics, and they didn't change the name. So this is something that's kind of strange to me. I think this set in particular, I'm not a fan of the colorway, but I think the profile is probably fine. A lot of people like PBT versus ABS, but SA in PBT is a lot harder to come across than the ABS versions. So this is kind of an alternative to that. But one thing that's really cool about this one is it's actually Doubleshot PBT. Whereas in the past, when you think Doubleshot PBT, whenever you see that listed somewhere, generally speaking, that means the cap itself is PBT, but the actual the shot inside for the legend is usually palm, and it's like a backlit shine through kind of thing that you can find on Amazon or whatever. That's been around for a while, but this is actually PBT Doubleshot with PBT, which to my knowledge is the first time this is happening in this community.
Not so. There has been two other examples. There was another. I can't remember the name of it. There was another company that did Doubleshot PBT in OEM profile, and they only ever did one set. And I can't remember what they were called now, but they just did one set, which was a white on black set, and it was fine. And then also Leopold, who sell keycaps and their own keyboards. So they sell the keycap sets for their keyboards, so the layout and compatibility is very, very limited. But they are the only other manufacturer currently making true Doubleshot PBT keycaps. Every other keycap on the market that advertises itself as Doubleshot PBT, as Brian says, tends to have either a laser ablated etched surface and then PBT pushed into it, or the actual true Doubleshot is a POM inserted into it, or the true Doubleshot is POM material in a PBT housing. And the reason for that is because PBT doesn't act like ABS and like other plastics in the market. When it cools, it shrinks and stretches and cracks and moves in different ways to ABS, and it's not always easy to predict how that's going to happen. This manufacturer appears to have come up with a solution, a process that works for them, enables them to give them true Doubleshot PBT caps. So I'd be interested to see what these look like. Looking at a few of the close-up pictures as well, the keycaps themselves do look as though they have some quality problems. There's one where there's some keycaps turned upside down on top of the board. There's one of the keycaps in there that's got a cracked stem immediately that you can see. I don't know if that's obvious to you, Brian, but it jumped out at me when I saw that. That was really obvious. And the other thing as well is when you look at the layout of the boards, a lot of the keys don't look square. They look kind of off-center, then kind of moved around a little bit as well. Some of the pictures where it's actually on the board, it doesn't look like all of the keycaps are necessarily square in terms of their straight lines and things. Either that or the stem slots are slightly twisted and bent as well. So it doesn't look like it's without its problems. This is a profile that's run on drop previously as well. I can't remember what colorway they had, but it was a slightly different one to this. I think it was Dolce, if I remember rightly. And we never covered it on the show, so that's why we're covering this one. Yeah, it's interesting to have true PBT double shot. I don't think this is for me for the colorway, but I'm interested to see how this profile develops over time and if the QC improves on the keycaps as well, because there is a couple of problems I can see quite clearly with them.
Yeah, and one thing that we were noticing before the show when we were talking about it is the actual row profiles here. So unlike pretty much every other set on the market, which will start with row 1 and then have another row 1 and then move on to row 2, this one actually has a different profile for the num row versus the F row. So you only have one row 1 profile here, and it's going to be your F row, and then on the num row you're going to start at row 2. Which is very, very different and kind of hard to compare when you actually look at it, because normally when you think row 3, you think the caps lock and enter row. That's kind of just what we have ingrained into our heads, but in this profile, that's actually row 4. So row 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 5. So just keep that in mind when you look at this, because that could throw you off pretty hard, like it did for me earlier. And with that in mind, they actually have a couple mistakes here in the base kit, starting with the ISO compatibility here. Obviously, these are all not supposed to be row 4 caps. The pipe key is actually supposed to be a row 5 cap that goes alongside your split left shift in a true ISO layout, which in this scenario would be row 5. Here they have it in row 4, which is traditionally row 3. I know that sounds confusing, but that's
the easy way to put is the pipe key shouldn't be on the caps row, it should be on the shift row, and they have it in the caps row instead from the profile perspective of this keycap set, which means that when you put the key in the right place on the keyboard, it's going to have a different profile and it's not going to look great, and it's going to feel a bit weird as well. I'm hoping that that's just an issue with the render for the layout itself, and I'm hoping that's not how it will be produced, but given the evidence we have, Brian is completely right. Did you say you spotted some other errors as well, Brian? Because that's the only one I spotted with this.
I thought I had one more, but now I can't remember what it is, and I should have wrote it down in the notes, but I didn't. So yeah, we'll presume that's the only issue at the moment, aside from the quality control issues that you were pointing out. This could be something they're working on fixing. We don't know. Like people mentioned in chat, this is something that has ran before on Drop and potentially KP Republic as well. I
think it is running on KP Republic right now, actually.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Also running there as well. Yeah.
Yeah. So one of the redeeming qualities of this set, I feel like, is probably going to be the price here. It's only $75 US on KBDfans right now, and I feel like the compatibility is pretty good for $75.
Yeah, it's not bad.
It's like look at what you get here. You actually get a pretty rich base kit. You get ISO support, even if one of the caps is obviously a little off. You get your HHKB, your Sangon. You're going to have some 65 and 75% support as well. Of course, 1800. And check out all these space bars you get in the base kit. You get a 225, a 275, a 3U, a 7U, and the standard 6.25U, all in the base kit, which I thought pretty darn reasonable.
It's not unreasonable at all, is it? It's not unreasonable.
No, it's probably the strongest part of this this key set in general. Is just the key cap per dollar value is really, really high here.
Yeah, I think I agree. Just scrolling down a little bit from where you are now as well. There's actually a shot of the secondary kit with the space bars in, which is actually the real keycaps. There's a couple of things I want to call out here. So that ISO key is definitely the wrong profile, because you can see it's identical to the keys at the side of it. But if you look at that row 4. What I was trying to say about the keycaps not being square is really, really obvious when you look at the third cap in, which is a control cap next to the insert cap. You can see that they're actually, instead of being flush against they're bowed out, and you can see that there's a gap between the two keys. I'm not sure how well that's showing up on your screens, guys.
I'm trying to enlarge it so everyone can see a little bit easier. It's pretty noticeable, though.
It does show that these keycaps are not potentially too square. And when you look at some of the larger keycaps as well, you can kind of see a curve on the top part of them as well. So yeah, just wanted to call it out, guys, that this is one of the challenges with Doubleshot PBT. PBT does shrink, warp, change as it's cooling down, especially when you're trying to do a double shot with it, and that does lead to some inconsistencies. So just need to bear that in mind.
Yep, definitely. All right, so that's going to wrap up our news doc for today. If you guys have any questions, now is a good time to get them in. We're going to talk about our sponsors for just a moment while we wait for some questions to roll in. So obviously, if you guys do have questions, use the @TopClack tag so we can see them a lot easier. It helps us out a lot. So yes, make sure to do that. Absolutely. You want to start us off, Jay?
Yeah, so first off this week we have got Zeal PC. So if you do want to support the show, please consider using zealpc.net/TopClack. That is an affiliate link. It won't cost you any extra, but it does give a small kickback to TopClack, to Brian and I. So if you do want to support us, please feel free to check that out. First things to call out is that the Zealio V2 lineup is still out there. If you guys are interested in some of the nicest tactile switches on the market right now, you can check out the Zealio V2. It's very nice. It's very tactile. Multiple different weight options depending on how you like your tactility, whether you like lighter keys or heavier keys. And there's also the standard Xylem variant as well. If you do want something a little bit different, Zeal does also have on offer at the moment the Aqua Xylents, which are a $1 each per switch. That pre-order ends on the 18th, so this is a mini group buy he's running at the moment. This is a new unique colorway that he hasn't run before. I believe there's been some changes to the switches as well when we've been talking to him previous about this. The base housing has changed. It's slightly narrower, so it should fit into your tight fitting plates a little bit better. It's got some anti-counterfeit methodology implemented into the base as well. And it's also a brand new colour, and I think the material's been slightly tweaked as well. I'm sure I saw him say that that's been tweaked, so it should sound and look a little bit different as well. Brian and I are hoping to get some samples of these as well as soon as they're available, so we'll keep you in the loop when that happens. But do consider purchasing those if that's something you're into.
Yep, definitely. Next up, we have Novel Keys over at novelkeys.xyz, of course, and he has a few things going on right now. Cat Milkshake. The Big Daddy Cat set right now is still open, still available to be joined. This is one I'm a really, really, really big fan of, not only because I love Milkshake, but also because I love cat profile. And this is going to be a pretty good one to pick up. Obviously, Beep designed, and he is very, very notably popular in the community for his designs of this nature. And of course, alongside that, there is a RamaWorks M6C available on Novel Keys right now, and that is the Milkshake edition. Not addiction. Well, maybe you have a milkshake addiction too, like I do. But this is the milkshake edition, which you can check out here, and it's got this kind of interesting glow enamel fill here, which is pretty awesome. Comes with those sweet keycaps as well. So, really looking forward to that kind of stuff, as well as the GMK Eclipse extras, which are still in stock right now, and the springs that he has in stock. If you haven't checked out his springs, they've kind of flew under the radar, I feel like, but he has a variety of weights that you've probably never even seen before, which I thought was pretty interesting. He has 39 gram, 56 gram, 74 gram, 89 gram, and 98 gram. So a lot of weights we've never actually seen before.
Lots of options, yeah.
Yeah, so very happy about that. And of course, if you're feeling like you need a plushie in your life, maybe you need something to cuddle, you can always check out the Gator Ron.
I have to grab him. I knew he was somewhere around.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah. He's just too adorable, man. Just too
he
dang.
Is. Look at that face. How can you say no to that face?
Too dang cute. Too dang cute. And of course, if you are shopping there and you are buying some products in stock, you can use the promo code CLACKERS. That is our official promo code for Novel Keys, and that'll get you 5% off your entire order.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, jumping from Mike's store over to Kono's store. Let me just post the link in chat. I was too interested in grabbing the Gator Ron and not being pasted.
Rightly so.
Yeah. If you are interested in joining a group buy right now, they do have Cam Starry Night up, so feel free to check that out. It's a great looking set. Brian managed to check this out on stream the other week, so do feel free to consider that. I think it's quite a nice looking set, lots of compatibility and some good price as well. I think it starts at $75 for different kits depending on what you're looking for, so feel free to check that out. If that's not quite your thing, then maybe a keyboard is. Don't forget that the Keystone group buy pre-order is open at the minute as well. So if you are interested in the Keystone analog mechanical keyboards, then this is potentially up your street. We've talked about these at length. Brian and I are really interested in trying these out. We're looking really forward to these switches that are going to be coming with this board, and it's looking very, very good. Some very interesting new technology that's being brought to market here by Kono as well. So please do even go have a look at that and read that, even if you're not intending on joining as well, because it's very, very cool, and it's going to be quite possibly very interesting in the market in the next couple of years as well. If you're looking for something a little bit more entry level, something more OEM, get a friend into the hobby, or you're new to the hobby yourself, then the Hex Gears collection might be right up your street. These are really, really good, solid boards for the price. They're great, perfect boards for people just joining the hobby, or for people who want something that's more travel or maybe a work-related board as well. So please do check that range out as well, because they are really, really great priced boards for the money. You know, the quality you get for that price point is pretty much unmatched. So definitely worthwhile checking those out too.
Yeah, use them to convert your friends, bring people into the community.
Absolutely, yeah. Yep.
And speaking of bringing people into the community, of course, we have KBDfans, who has a lot of awesome entry-level products in stock pretty much at all times that you can find, whether you're looking for switches, stabilizers, keycaps, cases, PCBs, you name it. They probably have a nice and inexpensive version of it if you're looking for some entry-level stuff. Right now, they still have the group buy going on for the 60/65% keyboard carrying cases. If you're into that, those have been pretty popular lately. As well as the Winmix Lava Doubleshot PBT set that we just talked about a few moments ago. That's still in there as well. So maybe not absolutely perfect, but pretty good price and pretty good compatibility as well.
For sure, yeah. And jumping over onto our last sponsor of the day is Dixiemech. Again, this is an affiliate link, guys. So if you do want to support the show, you can go to dixiemech.com/TopClack. It will give us a small kickback, but no extra cost to you. Right now, Dixie's got GMK 9009, one of the Big Daddy key sets that we've seen over the past couple of years. It's always sold well, and it's selling well again this time round. Slightly revised kits. You can buy pretty much any kit and get compatibility for pretty much anything that you need. The base kit, there's a UK ISO kit, the 40s kit, there's even a Nordic kit now. So do take a look at that if that is up your street. It's one of the classic GMK sets, and it's only open until the end of the month. As well as that, Dixie's also got desk mats and other apparel as well, if you are interested in that kind of thing, as well as a couple of Rama caps for 9009 available too. But in terms of the desk mats, I think, Brian, we've had some really nice desk mats from Dixie in the past. So if you are looking for something, you might want to check out his current collection, because there's some really nice ones out there.
Heck yes. All right, guys. On to the Q&A. Again, if you guys have questions, hopefully we have answers for you. Make sure to use the @TopClack tag. You can put that in chat right now. So before we head off, we can answer a few questions.
Absolutely.
Shout out to Long Schlong Boy, who subbed at tier 1.
Long Schlong Boy, I like that. That's great.
That's a good name. Yeah.
It's not a bad name.
Very direct. I like it. All right, guys.
First question looks like it's from Gondolindrim, saying, "How are you guys doing? How are you doing, Brian? Are you doing all right, man?"
My brain's a little rattled right now, but other than that, I'm doing pretty darn good. It's Thursday. It's my favorite day of the week, so happy to be here. So it's a good day. It's a good day.
Good. I'm doing fine. I'm tired. It's been a very, very long week at work. I think 4 days in, and I'm just about 60 hours down, so I'm exhausted. But tomorrow's Friday, and then it's the weekend, so I can relax a little bit. So yeah, doing all right other than that.
You've been working way too hard, Jay.
Yeah, it's a busy time at work. I had 2 interviews this week as well, so it's been a tough week.
Yeah. Well, sometimes it be like that.
Sometimes it be like that.
Sometimes it be like that.
Yeah, that's just life, right?
That is just life. Yeah. Mike Click says, "Thanks for posting the Starry Night review." You are welcome. So yeah, guys, if you haven't seen it, up on topclack.com, I did put a little bit of kind of an overview / impressions of Cam's Starry Night, both the key set and the profile in particular up there. So if you guys want to know my a little bit more extended thoughts, make sure to check out that article on topclack.com right now.
Yeah, good article. Yeah.
Yeah. Gondolidrum says, "If your brain is rattled, you should lube it." Yeah.
Just pour it in your eardrums, dude. Just get that lube.
Is that the next level play that I've been waiting for?
Yeah, it's a big brain galaxy move. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. Yeah.
Big brain galaxy move. I like it. All right. I need some more galaxy level moves in my life apparently.
Right. Okay.
Mountain Block's asking any specific tips for lubing box clicky switches. I don't think I've ever actually lubed a box clicky before.
Do you want my flippant answer or do you want the real answer?
The real answer, of course. Why would you disrespect the viewers like that, Jay?
I'm not. I will always give the real answer. The flippant answer is take the box switch and drop it to one side because clickies are old news. But I'm joking. I'm joking. I'm just trying to. I'm feeling that way out today, guys. I am tired. I'm feeling a little bit on the grumpy side. So, but I don't mean it. No. So I found that it's better for box switches if you're going to lube them to just lube the stem rather than lubing the housing or anything like that. Just lube the stem and they tend to feel all right. Given the fact that it's a clicky, because of the tactility you're going to get there anyway, you're never going to get them perfectly smooth because them click bars are huge. You know, they're a big old click bar. It's a big old event in the whole down press of the switch. So my view is if you're going to lube them, lube the stem, and you don't need to go nuts with it because you're not going to add that much of an improvement to the switch either way.
Yeah, I feel like maybe I'm going against the grain here a little bit, but I feel like box clicky switches tend to be pretty smooth already.
They're not too bad, yeah, but it is a big old tactile event, is that click bar, so you're never going to get rid of that feel. And
yeah.
Due to the implementation, even if you had a load of lube, it doesn't really stop that feel being there.
Yeah, and
you're still not going to get rid of it.
You do have to be kind of careful too, because you don't necessarily want to lube the click bar or the stem where the click bar meets the stem, because you could impact the sound there, and you could pretty inconsistently just ruin the sound profile across multiple switches that way.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
Hints asking, how often do you change switches? I rotate board. Generally, on average, I probably rotate boards every few days.
Yeah, I mean, I change boards every couple of days, but it's rare I'll actually take switches out of a board and rebuild it with a different switch. I do that maybe to 2 boards a year. I tend to try new switches by just building a new board, to be honest with you. But yeah, I probably try through a week. I probably have 3 different boards on my desk with 3 different types of switching. It's rare I'll go from one board to another that has the same switching. I usually try and mix it up a little bit. You know, I mean, the last 3 boards I've got at the side of me, which were Inks, Linears, and what are they? Trash Pandas. So yeah, those are the last 3 switches that I tried, and then I've got T1 switches in the board I've got in front of me right now. So
yeah, a lot of people that know me, obviously, I like to say variety is my end game, and that's kind of how I feel about switches, keyboards, keycaps, etc. That's just how I roll in this hobby. So I rotate everything pretty often. Yeah. Sinfoil? That's supposed to be Sinfoil? I was asking, any tips on making better / cleaner solder joints / balls? I think it's kind of practice, confidence, I feel like. You know,
clean your as well. So I would say you start to have problems with soldering if you don't clean the tip of your soldering iron. So get some like copper ball to clean your tip the tip of your soldering iron, and make sure you tin it correctly, and then make sure that when you're applying it, you're not holding it down for too long. Don't push too much solder in as well. Just let it melt naturally and let it flow down. If you start to add too much, you'll end up with balls on top and it won't flow down, and you'll end up with a cold soldered joint. So just let it happen naturally, but don't hold it too long. And if you're ever not sure, take the soldering iron away, let it all cool down, and then come back to it. Don't rush it.
Yeah, I mean, part of it too is obviously the type of solder that you use. You know, the ratio in the solder, how much flux is in the solder. Flux obviously going to make it flow a little bit easier. Some solders are going to be, you know, more or less difficult to work with. I think a lot of it is just is kind of just the consistency of your hands, obviously, and just practice, experience, confidence. A lot of people are really scared when they solder, and they, you know, sometimes they can burn pads by holding the iron there too long. or maybe not applying solder fast enough or something. It's easy to make simple mistakes because it feels like it should be a really complicated experience, but when in all actuality in our community, at the level that we solder at, it's actually like a really basic thing. And once most people start soldering, they're like, oh, okay, that's not nearly as complicated or as dangerous as I thought it was. 'Cause it really is not that hard. Once you start doing it, you'll realize how easy it is. But yeah, I would just kind of try to focus on consistency. Obviously, solder joints don't always have to look amazing; they just have to be functional. I'm not saying that you should be soldering sloppily, but if a couple of your joints are a little sloppy, as long as it works, it's fine. It's not actually like hurting anything.
Agree. Yeah. Next question comes from Long Schlong Boys. Is which keycap sets have you guys joined in so far or are planning on joining? So I've joined a few this year so far. I've joined Handabay, I've joined Merlin, I've joined these are just ones that haven't delivered. Metropolis, Nines. What else has run this year so far that I've joined? Heine's set from last month, Violet on Cream. What else am I waiting for? Voyage. I think that's it. Maybe there's a couple more. I don't know.
Nice. I'm waiting on Nines, Mizu, Olive.
Oh, Mizu. Olive, yeah.
Crap.
Better memory than me.
I bought 8008 on like the last day.
Yeah.
I'll probably get 9009. Let's be honest.
I already have about 4 sets of that, so I'm not buying another one this time around.
I've only ever owned one, and I traded it. I don't remember what I traded it for, but I traded it, and then I kind of regretted it. So, but I think round 3 is nicer because it's going to be cheaper, $100 base kit, and that's all I need because I'm a pretty basic layout user. And I like the fact that it has row 5, and I like the fact that it has updated legends for some of the keys that are more centered. So
yeah, the couple of things that I struggle with on that is that if you so the R5 keys is nice, and I potentially pick it up just for that basis. But the fact is, if you wanted to use some of the keys from this current set with some of your older keys from when it's running previous sets, because the modifiers have changed position, that kind of might leave some of the sets looking a bit weird, depending on how you mix up the keys. So I don't know. I'd have to have a think about it. But I've got enough sets that I don't need to buy another 900.
Just don't mix up the keys. Easy.
Well, yeah, that's the other option. Yeah. But
come on, Jay.
If you're almost there, if you've got like three sets, you've got round 1, round 2, and round 3, and you can almost cover 4 boards with all the different kits, and you have to start picking and choosing, bits and pieces, and you've got like an OG set somewhere for the alphas and things. You could end up in a position where you have some slightly different ones, but yeah. Next question is from Pangoin. It says, you guys are excited for KeyCon in Denver. Are you planning on going to Denver?
I have no idea when this is. Is it going to be in June? Isn't KeyCon always in June?
I thought it was November KeyCon.
Oh, is there?
I think they have 2 a year, don't they?
Is there 2 a year now?
Wasn't it May, June time in New York, and then it's Denver, November time, I think.
I'm not sure. Hopefully, someone in chat can correct us on that. I'm sure someone else.
I'm not sure.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure when the date is. In November, I'm aiming to go to the NorCal meetup. So if KeyCon Denver is in November, I probably won't be going to that. If it's in June, I'll definitely consider it because that's still a ways out, and I can try to have some time to gather funds for that and plan it out a little bit. But yeah.
I'm unlikely to make it to Denver. I'll be honest. It's a long old way from me for the UK. So one meetup in the US per year is what I'll try and aim to do.
International flights kind of a big deal. Turns out.
Yeah, well, it was only 13.5 hours each way. Well,
Yeah, but I mean, like
nothing really.
The tickets too are not it's expensive. It's expensive and it's time consuming and it's physically exhausting.
All in, I spent $3,000 with the trip to there. Staying over, food, everything else, flights, all of that kind of stuff. It was about $3,000 in total. It cost me to go to Seattle for a week, which is not cheap.
No, that's not money that you can drop multiple times a year and have it be okay.
No,
generally speaking.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, as long as it's a little ways out, I'd consider going to Denver. Absolutely. I've never been.
Which state is Denver in? Where is Denver?
That's Colorado, right? Right. I'm gonna sound really stupid if it's not Colorado. I should probably just look it up.
Denver. Where is Denver?
City in Colorado. Yes, I'm not entirely stupid. Fantastic.
Okay, I see where it is now. Okay.
I am terrible at geography. I really am.
Interesting.
Yeah, so I'll try to make it. If it's like spring or summer, I will try to make it. There's definitely a chance that funds can be allocated to that.
I mean, it's literally central US, isn't it? It's right in the center.
Maybe I can convince some of our sponsors to chip in to get me out there, and I can do like some special content around that or something. Cool. I don't know. That'd be kind of fun.
Actually, do you know what? I have been near Denver before without realizing it, because I've been to Pikes Peak, and that's not too far away from there.
Okay. Our next question is related. Sinfoil again asking, should I drive 13 hours to Denver or spend $117 on a plane ticket? And he says I'm 17. He says I'm 17, by the way.
You're old enough to fly plane ticket either way.
I can't. I mean, you're gonna spend roughly that much on gas driving there, anyways. It's not going to be,
if not more.
Yeah, if not, I don't know what kind of car you have, obviously, so that plays a role into it. But you're probably going to be spending roughly, or at least that much on gas, anyways. I'd rather just take the flight, because if the drive is 13 hours, then the flight's only going to be like, an hour and a half or 2 hours. So I'd rather just save the time. But depending on your car, depending on how close you are to the airport, what other accommodations you have worked out, things could be a little bit different. Obviously, you're 17, so you can't rent a car while you're there. So having your car there might be really valuable to you, depending on the rest of the outcome, the circumstances. Since we don't have all the info, we can't really make that decision for you. But given those two options, I would rather fly.
I think flight is the right option there. Full stop. Faster, easier, probably cheaper, less worry, dead easy. Yeah. Why drive and fall asleep at the wheel and spend 13 hours trying to get there when you can just sit on a plane, read a book, and then get off the plane and be where you need to be?
Yeah. Fair enough. All right. Frisco Melt is asking, what would you lube creams with? So the only thing I have ever had on my cream switches is 205 grade 0. And it's worked fine for me so far. I know a lot of people like that PTFE powder. I think Walker, the mad scientist in the Top Clack Discord, does really enjoy that PTFE powder. I've heard a lot of good things from other people about that as well. I just haven't tried it yet.
Yeah, I use a PTFE that's suspended in liquid, and as you put it on, the liquid evaporates and the PTFE remains. It's called Finish Line. It's designed for bike chains and lubricants for push bikes, bicycles, but it's really, really good for creams as well. I found it adheres to POM better than some oils can do. And I don't like creams with things like 205 grade 0, and they just feel a bit weird for me and sound a bit weird. It ruins the sound because they've got such a unique sound profile. I think if you're going to lube them, oils or PTFE are probably the right way to go.
Yeah. Mountain Blocks asking, how important do you think it is to clean flux residue from solder joints? Generally speaking, not important at all.
It's entirely up to you, is my view. If you want to really go into it, perfect the board, and have it 100% perfect, then great. I'll be honest, I only ever do it if I'm building a board for someone else. If I'm building the board for me, don't do it. If I'm building a board for someone else, I'll go back and clean it after a stream or after I've built it, whatever. But yeah, for my own personal builds, I don't clean it off.
Yeah, I don't even do it for other people. I don't see the point. Maybe if you have like a keyboard with a clear bottom layer or something where you actually see the PCB when you pick it up, I get it. I understand that. But generally speaking, when it's enclosed in a case and you're not seeing it, there's no functional difference. It's not going to hurt anything. It's just a perfectionist kind of thing. Whether you see it in your mind's eye, and if it bothers you, then consider cleaning it. If it doesn't, then just don't worry about it.
Yeah. Next question from Upas. He says, what upcoming keyboards are you excited for? Any keyboards caught your eye, Brian?
Keyboards coming up, huh? Well, I'm a little curious about that Olympus that we saw in interest check today. That's something pretty cool. Obviously, this is not. I swear this isn't just because Upas asked it, but I am interested in the Chimera.
It's nice.
I think that's going to be a pretty interesting one. I'm trying to remember all the other boards that are happening right now.
There's so many.
There's so many, man. Like, it's hard to remember. Remember, like, 2 years ago when you could remember everything that's happening at all times because there was a group buy, like, once or twice a month?
Well, we could win a week now. That was a month's worth of stuff 2 years ago.
Yeah. Or, not even. That's, like, two months worth of stuff, practically. But, it's tough to remember everything now. I'll be totally honest, too. A lot of things don't stand out for me anymore. I'm becoming kind of jaded, especially with key sets. Like, the amount of times I get PMs from people in the Discord, they're like, "How do you feel about this key set? Do you like it? What do you think about this?" I'm like, man, I'm not gonna lie to you, man. Like, it looks fine. All key sets look pretty much fine to me at this point. It's a key set. Do you like the colors? Cool. Do you not like the colors? Okay, don't get it. We have a lot of standards now. I feel like based on things like compatibility, advertising, vendors, and stuff like that. But like as far as colors are concerned, I just don't really care anymore.
That's fair. That's fair.
I don't mean that in a bad way or a mean way, but it's just I've seen too many key sets at this point.
Sure, I get you. Just going back to the question, for me, I think in terms of boards I'm waiting for, other than what Brian was mentioning, because the Chimera and everything else was really nice, I think it's the Iron 165. I'm really looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to the Kepler 65. I'm hoping to get my hands on one of those. The Forge Car FC65. The other one, JO2, so my prototype is out for delivery on Saturday, so jo2soon.com. There'll be an IC up for that as well at some point soon. I think that's about it.
I'm very unprofessional and mean for interjecting here, but the Kendo. I'm looking forward to the Kendo.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah.
Really interesting.
So lots of good boards coming. Yeah, and there'll be others as well that we've forgotten because there's so many good boards coming. Yeah. But I think the Smith and Rune. If I had to pick three, Smith and Rune, Iron 165, the Kepler 65, the FT 65, and the JO2 are the three that I'm personally most looking forward to.
All right. Next question comes from Gondolindrum asking, "What would you lube linears with?" I actually have some somewhere. I can't reach them. I think mine are lubed with Tribosys 3203, which are maybe I don't remember what I use. Maybe I use MCG 111. I can't honestly remember. I would go something either lighter or more towards like the mid end. I don't really like greases on most linears, especially the thicker ones like 205 grade 0. I think it's just not quite as successful, but it's also kind of an unpopular opinion because most people go absolutely nuts over 205 grade 0 in this community. Everyone loves it. For me, GPL 105 oil by Krytox is probably still my absolute favorite overall lube. So yeah, that's what I'd suggest. If you have to have a grease, I'd go with something lighter. Tribosys 3203. Maybe check out the new 204 grade 00 over on Novel Keys. That should be relatively light and smooth. Crystal Lube MCG 111, also a contender in that realm.
Yeah, I've got 203 grade 0 on these linears in this board, which I don't know. I'd probably change it if I could now, but at the time I was trying out the lube, so there we go. But that's what's on there. It's all right, I guess.
Yeah. Gondolindrum also asking, or he says, also remaining flux is shown to deteriorate plastics and metals in the long run. 3+ years, it can corrode anodization and plastics. So if it's a high-end board, it is very worth to remove. Okay, I didn't actually know that.
Yeah, good point. Yep.
Yeah, okay, there you go. There's your answer.
Clacky Gears says, "Is there a good guide for lubing using the dry powder?" Yeah, so Walker, the mad scientist, he's got a video up on YouTube you can go and watch. and he shows how he loops with the dry powder. If you buy one like the Finish Line product that I mentioned before, it's in a liquid. It's the one and only time I recommend bag lubing, because it's just easier that way. But effectively, get a bag or a tub, put everything in there, put a squirt of the liquid in, shake it up. What I would say for PTFE powders, in my experience, is that they need multiple coats. So doing it once isn't always good enough. So you do it once, leave them to dry out on a cloth for 12, 24 hours, then do the process again. And if you have got time, do it a third time as well. I think trying to build up layers works better with the powders and PTFE for me than just doing an initial base layer. And it works better that way for Alps as well.
All right. Next up, Sinful asking, any good value PCBs, cases, or kits for 75%? Well, there's not really a standard for 75% products.
Depends on how much you want to spend as well, because there's some really good 75% boards out there that are, you know, cheap. So the KBD 75 V2, that's a pretty good board for the price. It's tray mount, but it's a good price. You can also look at the Singer V3. There's a couple left in stock, I was the other day, but that is significantly more expensive. I think that's just under $500.
It depends what good value means to you, because obviously a board that's $400 or $500 can be a good value, but generally I feel like when people are looking for good value products, and like he mentioned before, he is 17, he might not have a ton of money, so maybe he's looking for something that's, you know, sub $200. In which case I would, recommend the KBD 75, which is a fairly budget option, but it's still pretty good for the dollar amount that you pay.
Yeah, absolutely. Next question. Avek doesn't tag me, but he says, Jay, am I out of shelves yet? So yeah, I only have about a third of my collection on the shelves. There's probably about 35 boards up there. There's some shelves out of reach above that you can't see as well. And I've probably got about 35 boards there and in the piles at the back and stuff, but I'm probably somewhere in the region of 110-ish boards at the minute. I probably do need to sell a few. But yeah, I've got a stack at the side of me here. I've got a display at the side of me here, and then I've got everything that's not built that's in the pipeline in bags in the garage. And there's also some TX bags that you can see behind me here. So, yeah, just behind that there's some TX bags somewhere, and there's some key bags just over here as well. So boards just everywhere at the minute.
He's a madman. He really is. All right, next question by Xenotropic, asking, do you use anything other than momentary layers and its derivatives on a regular basis, other than a number pad layer?
Yeah, so I do. Well, Brian's having to think about it. Behind me, you can see the Hyper 7. That board just here, this long blue one. It's not in use at the minute, but when I do use that, that's got about 8,000 different functions over 9 different layers. Everything from Greek options to different tap and holds to all of the old Lisp functions and functionality that was available in the Lisp programming language. It's pretty much all in there. It's quite possibly the largest key map that I've ever written, and I did it with some
I'm sure that you know every single one of those 9,000 functions too, Jay.
Sure. Yeah.
I'm sure you're just that awesome.
Yeah, I know about 100 maybe.
I'm kind of a basic bitch when it comes to keyboards. I don't really need a ton of layers. Momentary generally works just fine for me. I don't have any need for 180 keys or whatever, and 9,000 layers or 9,000 functionalities. I don't need it. I don't use a keyboard for my daily job, so it's all just talking to people generally. My keyboard needs. Osiris subbed at tier 1 for 6 months. Thank you so much, man.
Hey.
Glad to see you around.
Mechs on deck. Yeah, nice.
Heck yeah. And Ballin Boys donates 100 bits and says thanks for the show. You are welcome.
Oh, thanks, man.
Greatly appreciate that, man. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Ron DG asking for a tour of a keyboard tour.
Maybe during a build stream 1 week. Maybe
that'd be really cool. You should make it a video, actually, just like a YouTube video where you go through and you show every single one of your keyboards.
People don't want to watch a 5-hour long video.
Oh man, I don't know if it was picked up on stream, but there's like a really massive thunderstorm right now where I am.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I didn't really notice it until I just heard what I thought was the world exploding outside my window. Yeah, that was some pretty serious thunder. Sorry about that, guys.
That's all right.
Glad it's happening now
question.
because my power is probably going to go out in like an hour.
Next question comes from Long Schlong Boy. He says, "What's the difficulty level on building a through hole like the Blade and the gingham?" So I actually built the gingham on stream a couple of weeks ago. It's pretty easy. It's it's not difficult. It's a really good way of practicing through hole soldering, which is great for learning how to solder switches and things. The difficulty level is quite low. I'd say it's 3 out of 10. It's not particularly hard.
It's just it's time consuming. There's a lot of things to solder.
Oh, it's not quick.
Yeah, there's a lot of things to solder, but again, all of it being through hole makes it pretty darn easy. Everything is just the same. You just effectively solder the same joint over and over and over again.
I think they're a really good introduction to soldering, though. It gets you really used to it very quickly because there's just so much to solder. So I'd recommend them. And the gingham's really good as well. I've got one somewhere. In fact, it's just up here, just there. That's my gingham there with hyperfuse on it. Next question comes from Slippery Pete, and he's saying, "Brian, what do you do for work?"
So I'm what's known as a dual rate at a card room casino, depending on how you want to look at it. So I deal table games like blackjack and stuff, but I'm also a floor supervisor, depending on the day, position, what's needed. So yeah, not very exciting, unfortunately, but it is what it is. It pays money, sort of.
Exactly. That's why we all go to work at the end of the day, to get money. So
Yep. I don't like doing it, but I've been doing it for so long. It's just like I'm good at it. It's whatever.
Shout out to and I'm going to butcher this, but Cozy Fanny Tutti saying fellow basic bitch here, but has been subscribed for 5 months. So thank you very much for that, dude. Very much appreciated.
Thank you so much. From one basic bitch to another. Fantastic.
Mountain Block sends 222 bits. Thank you, dude. Appreciate that.
Thank you very much. Says great show. Appreciate that, man. I'm glad you guys are enjoying it.
Should we call this the final question? We've been going 2 hours now. Should we call it the final question?
Yeah, it's probably a good time to stop. So last question here. 10 Strong asking, Brian, when you play poker, do you play 2-5? No, 2-5 spread is pretty rare. You don't really find that out here too much. Usually, like out here in our card rooms, we have 4-8 limit. Some of the bigger casinos will have maybe a 2-10 spread, or even a 1-2 no limit game, which can get pretty big. I don't play a lot of poker anymore, but a lot of people don't know. I actually used to play. I want to say professionally, because I did it professionally for 8 months, almost a year. That was pretty much all I was doing, was just playing poker, and that's how I made my living. But it's not like I did it for years and years and years on end. It was a pretty short-ish time frame of less than a year. But I do love playing poker. I used to play a ton of poker. I don't really play much anymore, just because it's hard to find the time. But I'd love to get back into it. But yeah, 2-5 spread is pretty rare. You don't really see that too often. I don't really like playing that kind of game. All right, yeah. So anyways, guys, yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed the show as much as we did. Links below the stream if you want to check out our official Discord. You can join us there and hang out with us, play games, talk about keyboards, talk about food or whatever you want. There's something for everyone there.
Talk about anything.
Yeah, there's channels for pretty much everything there. As well as below the stream, you can also find our link to our YouTube channel where all the VODs are posted, as well as typing tests and other content. Hopefully getting out some more of that in the very near future as we plan a few more series and stuff. So, SN Foil asking, when do we stream? So in the Discord, we actually have an information channel which shows our schedule. But this particular series, this is our main kind of flagship show, is always Thursday at 6 p.m. Pacific time. And we've been pretty consistent for about 3 years, even on holidays. We go hard here. Top Clack doesn't mess around.
Yeah, and in terms of other streams, I'll be doing a build this week. Hopefully we won't have the technical difficulties we had last week. That'll be on Sunday, 8 p.m. UK time, which is 12 noon Pacific time. I'll be building one of the Borsdorfs, which is one of the Alps builds. I'll probably be doing the Brown Alps build, and putting the keycaps on and all of that kind of stuff. And we'll also be looking at the CU80 prototype as well, so we'll take a look at that. And yeah, should be a good, fun-filled stream. So definitely looking forward to doing that. Have a look at those two boards. I'm really excited to build the Borsdorf. It's quite possibly one of the nicest Alps boards that I've had, with that lovely curve. I've stacked stuff on top of it, so I can't show you now. But yeah, that lovely curve on the side. I'm really, really excited to show you guys that and do that build with the brown Alps. So please do come check that out on Sunday.
Yeah, and I was hoping to have a stream tomorrow, but I don't have all the pieces I need yet. I still need to get a battery for my Bluetooth PCB from the G60, so I can build my Couchsurfer, which I was showing off earlier at the beginning of the stream. I want to do that. I'm still waiting on my Southpaw full size, which should hopefully arrive in the near future. My Xeno obviously still hasn't arrived yet, but hopefully that comes in relatively soon as well. I did get notice that that recent board we were checking out, the Honey Board 60, with that really interesting kind of bottom case design. Apparently we're getting one of those, and he PM'd me. Nice. He PM'd me just the other day, and he's like, "Here's a picture of yours." And I was like, "Excuse me?" And he's like, "Yeah, so you're gonna get this one." And I'm like, "Cool." Like, now we'll actually be able to do some typing tests and see if that honeycombed cutout design in the bottom is actually going to be a big determining factor for the acoustics of this keyboard. So, really looking forward to checking that out. I have no idea when it's going to arrive, but you know, whenever it arrives is a good arrival time in my opinion. Just because, you know, obviously it's a kind of like a review sample of sorts. So, very, very kind of them to do that for us. So, looking forward to checking that out. But yep, once that arrives, I'll definitely be doing that as well. So I have a few things in the pipeline. I'm just waiting on things to arrive before I can do more streams. So, yeah.
Yeah, I've got a huge backlog at the minute, so the streams of mine are going to continue for a while. Yeah, it's they're not going to end anytime soon. Yeah.
Yeah, you're cool. I get it. Fazza,
no, just a bigger nerd. That's all it is. Just a bigger nerd.
Whoa! I am a larger nerd.
Physically, maybe.
I am physically a larger nerd. Alright, anyways, we're rambling here. Fazza does donate, before we head out, Fazza does donate 200 plus 20 bonus bits there for using that.
Nice.
Yeah, so just guys, whether it's for Top Clack or not, if you actually donate bits this month, this is September right now, one of the promotions Twitch is doing is if you use the Subway bits, the streamer gets an extra 10%. So, like you see here, Fazza donated 200 Subway bits, and the streamer gets another 20 bits at no extra cost. So, something to keep in mind. Again, whether you're donating to Top Clack or another streamer, definitely something to keep in mind this month. So, anyways, thank you so much, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed the show, and we will definitely see you very, very soon. See you next week, same time, same place. Make sure to check out Jay on Sunday, 12 noon Pacific and 8 in the UK. You can catch a sweet build stream as usual. And, of course, again, below, join our official Discord and check out our YouTube channel as well. Guys, enjoy the rest of your day or night or morning, wherever you are. And,
sleep.
And know that we love you.
We do. Thank you very much for watching, guys. We appreciate it. See you again soon.